right, welcome back to the party, everybody. This is Morty, and I am your host, Luck, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. Everybody hit that like and subscribe. You know I would do it for you, and let's party. Happy Independence Day. I know I wasn't here, but we did indeed have another Independence Day, and I do indeed love me some independence. But nothing really has happened over the weekend to cover in terms of like breaking news. So I figured let's check in with our favorite debate panel show, The Raging Tomato, and they had a very interesting discussion about the deportations. Update that, and let's break it down. So as always, guys, please do hit that like button. If you cannot hear the video, please do let me know.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. I am Sara The Raging Tomato, bringing to you live another debate. This evening's question in line is Trump, or not even a question, a statement, pardon me, a Trump deportations do more harm than good. RTP-Talks and Stephen Kent from from GeekySotics. Sorry, I had it in my head and then it went gone by. Are here to debate the topic. RTP, would you like to begin with your opening statement, please?
It would be my pleasure. Sara, thanks for having us. Stephen, thanks for being here.
So as you can see, this is the dirty lib over here. And then this guy is going to be in favor, saying that, yes, it is they do not do more harm than good. They are, in fact, a good thing. Shout out to Brandon Murphy in the building. Welcome to the party. Said deportation is helping America more than letting them stay. Democrats would want them there just to get their votes. It's all power and tax money grabs. It's not for people's lives. Absolutely. It's and I think on both sides there, excuse me, there's an aspect of like just trying to win. But I do think I would much rather somebody just want to win and have the right opinion versus just want to win and have the wrong opinion, or have the right opinion for the wrong reason, or, whatever. So whether they care or not, I do. And I wanted to see these deportations. Now, which deportations? We're going to get into that. And shout out to Morty in the building, the co-host, the overlord. Remember, guys, every single donation comes with a treat for Morty. Shout out to Adam in the building. Welcome. Indeed, it is going to be a spicy show. What is going on? My hair's so frizzy. All this heat and humidity. Welcome to the party.
Stephen is the only person ever that I have debated that ended with a hug. And I will say Stephen said some very risque things into my ear at the end of that, and I won't repeat them. But Stephen, it's good to see you again.
Thank you for keeping that private. I appreciate it.
I'm just devastated that we won't be able to hug after this. It's tough. Trump deportations do more harm than good. Let's start with the economic harm. Undocumented immigrants are a vital part of the United States workforce, especially in industries like agriculture, construction, food service, elder care. They fill jobs that are hard to staff. They pay billions in taxes, and they help keep prices down for American consumers. In 2023, undocumented immigrants paid nearly $90 billion in federal, state, and local taxes and held nearly $300 billion in spending power. Removing them would shrink the labor force, reduce productivity, and hurt businesses that rely on their labor. The impact on the GDP would be significant. Multiple studies show that mass deportation would reduce United States GDP by up to 3%. That would cost the economy hundreds of billions of dollars and lead to higher prices for everybody. Deporting millions would not free up jobs for citizens. Instead, it would cause massive labor shortages, force businesses to close or relocate, and result in job losses for native-born workers as the economy inevitably contracts. 42% of U.S. farm workers are undocumented immigrants. I don't have to lay that out too clearly to understand that U.S. farm workers...
We're making the slavery argument. We've got so much dependent on the slave labor. What are we going to do without it?
Losing 42% of their workers would be devastating. Without this labor force, crops like lettuce, tomatoes, corn will go on...
Tomato, and it's the Raging Tomato. Shout out to Josie. Welcome to the party. So this is called a debate. So two people will have different ideas about a thing, and then they will talk about it, and then we all determine who had a better showing. Ask stupid questions, get stupid answers. Welcome to the party.
Without this labor force, crops like lettuce, tomatoes, corn will go unharvested, fields will be left barren, and livestock may not properly be cared for. Millions of tons of produce that could be left unharvested due to lack of workers would just be a waste. Perishable crops are especially at risk, leading to significant food waste and, more importantly, loss of income for farmers. If we're successful at carrying out the 3,000 deportations per day now mandated by DHS, food prices are projected to rise by 10%, potentially more as supply drops in produce.
Okay, all right. I take that back. I take that back. I apologize. You're right. You're right. Gay indeed. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We also got our boy Bomb Tag. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the party. Very good to see ya. How have you been, brother? Always a pleasure to see you.
Prices are projected to rise by
music. What music?
By 10%, potentially more as supply drops and production costs increase. Shortages of domestic produce may force increased reliance on imports, furthering raising prices and reducing food security. The only real solution to this seems to be more that you would have more factory farms with a need for capital, which will likely be facilitated through government subsidies, and capital, which would put family farms in the hands of corporations. In a MAGA Maha movement, this creates a stark deviation from the claimed goal of helping American farmers and also getting.
Well, so, okay, he's making the point there that if there is not this immigrant labor in, with the crops and stuff, that eventually corporations are going to take it over and it's going to become, like being an Amazon driver, except you're out in the fields. And I don't think that is unfounded. I just don't think that supersedes the principles that we have a country and you're not invited.
Off overprocessed food and roided out beef. These shortages would lead to a devastated rural economy across the country, leaving us with either a need for welfare or a mass migration to bigger cities. Agricultural production could decrease by 30 to 60 billion. That's according to THS, a program that connects consumers with farm workers. Many small and mid-sized farms would be forced out of business due to labor shortages and rising costs. Local economies that depend on agriculture will suffer from lost jobs and reduced spending in local economies. The fiscal harm is significant, and it leads to higher costs, not savings. The average cost to deport one undocumented immigrant is between
it's all about the money.
$10,000 and $24,000, depending on where you're looking at the number. Mass deportation of 13 million people would cost at least $315 billion, but could cost as much as $800 billion. When we deport those people, we will lose the contributions that undocumented immigrants make to Social Security and Medicare, which is about $34 billion to Social Security.
And how much do they take out?
And about $6.5 billion.
Not of Social Security. I mean, I'm just in general.
Towards Medicare. That's money that we'll never collect, and that's money that helps maintain those programs as they stand now. In 2023, undocumented immigrants paid between 90 and 97 billion in federal, state, and local taxes.
He's going full bore on the slavery argument. He's going full bore. We need these people to do our work because we can't do it. Okay, dude.
That includes payroll taxes, Social Security, Medicare, sales tax, property tax, either directly or through rent. And of course, states with large unpopulated populations like California, Texas, and New York collect billions in additional tax revenue from these residents. It is my contention that the net fiscal impact is generally positive at the federal level, sometimes negative at the state and local level, but that's mainly due to the education costs for U.S.-born children. Granting legal status and work authorization would increase tax contributions by between $40 and $140 billion annually, which further improves our fiscal balance. And I know Stephen loves fiscal balance. On top of the fiscal implications, the harm to the community, we've already seen.
That seemed like it was meant to be a dig. Is that like fucking fake juice? Ugh. Right. Shout out to Rhett in Action. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the party. Very good to see ya. We also got our boy Indie Fam over on Rumble. Said greetings from the land of the Rumble. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the party. Very good to see you. And of course, shout out to Liberty Plus TV. Said no amount of tax collection can make up for losing your culture. You're goddamn right. No amount of tax collection can make up for losing your culture. Well said.
Has been back that up. On top of the fiscal implications, the harm to the community we've already seen has been devastating. Family separation, social disruption. It can't really be measured in terms of data, but adding division into cities, counties, states, and the country where there's no evidence of any fiscal benefit is frankly baffling to me. It would make some more glad.
Could that be because you're stupid?
But there's no evidence of any fiscal benefit is frankly baffling to me. It would make some more glass half empty liberals lead them to believe that for some, maybe it truly is about cruelty or racism. Family separation, millions of United States children have undocumented parents. Deportations potentially could separate families, traumatize children, increase foster care and social service costs. When immigrants fear deportation.
So he is saying that we need the cheap labor and that we can't separate families. So kids got to go too.
They're far less likely to report crime or cooperate with police. That makes communities less safe for everybody. In some communities, this lack of trust moves communities to look to gang admission for protection and economic mobility. There's also the social and health impacts where children in mixed status families suffer academically and emotionally when a parent's deported. Health outcomes worsen and trust in public institutions erode. The moral and humanitarian harm that would...
Okay, we're getting to the moral part of it, finally.
That would be cast on our country. I believe America's strength comes from its values, opportunity, family, and fairness.
Yep. And how do we keep those values if we are not a country?
Mass deportation plans often rely on expedited removal. That can oftentimes sweep up legal immigrants and even U.S. citizens, denying them fair hearings and due process. By targeting legal immigrants, recent Republican proposals have called for ending protections for legal immigrants, including DACA, TPS recipients, green card holders, and now even naturalized citizens.
Just in case you guys are worrying, this is not like an Oxford-style debate where it's one person goes and the other person goes and back and forth like that. They're just doing opening statements and then they get into the blood sport.
Our international reputation has been destroyed. Harsh deportation policies damage our standing around the world. They undermine our role as a beacon of hope and freedom and a country with values. I believe there's no net benefit to mass deportations, and I think the evidence is overwhelming. I think that it's really difficult to...
That's the other side of his argument, that we need slave labor, and it's so sad. It's so sad. Like I said, the new American value, second-class citizenship. I mean, we had it in COVID, and here it is again. Josie said, leave all farmers, hotels, all the farmers, restaurant. Why can't I read today? Let's try that one again. Leave all the farmers, hotels, restaurants, immigrants that been here for 10 years with zero criminal record, just like Trump suggested. Yeah, I mean, assuming that's on hold while we're dealing with like the actual criminals. Yeah, I'm down with that.
Benefits to mass deportations, and I think the evidence is overwhelming. I think that it's really difficult to make an argument for mass deportation without relying on stories like Laken Riley, without names, and without tugging at heartstrings. If we look at the...
Well, hold on. Mentioning Laken Riley may absolutely pull at heartstrings, but it's not irrelevant. That's a great debate tactic. To say, oh, the thing that you're going to say that is a really good example of something that happens all over the place, but this is the one we all know about, that doesn't count because you're pulling at the heartstrings. Right after you're talking about, oh, families are going to get torn apart. Pick a lane, brother, pick a lane. Because here's the problem. It doesn't matter how many statistics and facts and studies you have. If you're talking out of both sides of your mouth, loser, you ain't winning a debate.
It's just economically, it makes perfect sense to give these folks amnesty. I think a comprehensive immigration reform that provides a path to legal status, secures the border, and meets the labor markets would be a far better way to go about this. And I think Trump's mass deportation agenda would inflict enormous economic, fiscal, humanity, and
enormous what did he say? Inflict enormous economic, fiscal humanity. What does that mean?
Enormous economic, fiscal, humanity, and frankly, American harm, while failing to deliver the promised benefits that they tell us every single day.
Steven's
it would make America
ready.
poorer, less safe, and less true to its values. The evidence is overwhelming. Mass deportations do far more harm than good.
I was not convinced. But let's see if he can push us over. And so remember, guys, what we do with these debate breakdowns is not about, like, most of us are going to agree on the fact that we like the deportations. That's not what we're doing here. We're not litigating whether or not we want to do the deportations. What we're doing is just judging how both of these guys are approaching the issue so that if we are in a conversation like this, we know what not to say and what to say.
Thank you, RTP, and Steven, to you.
That's what I was saying. They're doing opening statement, so he's gonna get that same 5 minutes, and then they go in. But if that was part of the actual debate, and he was just silent, he wouldn't win the debate, but he would win an award with me.
Okay, over to me then. All right, Trump deportations do more harm than good. The first question here that must be answered about the motion regarding harm or good is who or what is potentially being harmed by deportations.
That is a fantastic point. Because if we're talking about the immigrants, it's definitely harming to them. But that's not really what we're talking about, is it? We're talking about the American people and the American culture, as Liberty Plus TV brought up. Great point. Right out the gate.
Is who or what is potentially being harmed by deportations. If this motion were about individuals and illegal immigrants who entered the United States without permission or process, there is no doubt in my mind that deportations do them more harm than good. People come here.
Like I said, the gentleman accuses the right of tugging on heartstrings when that was basically his entire argument. I mean, to be fair, the other half was we need this slave labor, but half his argument.
From all around the world because America has something special that they want a piece of. The American dream may be a punchline to many people in our audience and to natural-born citizens under the age of 40 who can't afford a mortgage or get out from their college debts. But it is not a joke to the millions of people who risk life and limb every year to come here or patiently wait for the process to play out for the promise of prosperity greater than that of their parents, keeping more of what they earn or relative safety in their communities, plus rule of law compared to places like Honduras, Haiti, or Mexico, where they might have come from.
Yeah, that's a principle that builds into that. You get multiple principles and you build it into a culture.
As such, we have problems that the rest of the world does not have when it comes to immigration, namely scale. Because our legal immigration system is a catastrophe, which we would agree on, totally broken by a cowardly Congress, the U.S. gets flooded from all sides and both coasts by people who want to be here.
I can see it. I mean, it's not one-to-one, but if I just did this, I was like, yo, today we're going to be covering Ryan Reynolds and he's wearing glasses. You'd have been like, what? Good call. Out to Ryan Reynolds.
U.S. gets flooded from all sides and both coasts by people who want to be here. Every developed nation in the world has this problem, but not at the scale that we do. Every developed nation, Japan, Australia, France, as just a couple examples, detains, houses, and deports individuals in their country illegally who lack a visa, a work status, or a refugee status that has been deemed appropriate.
Like a law.
It is only in the United States where our mythology around 19th and 20th century immigration through Ellis Island has outstripped its usefulness to modern day. We have chosen to embrace lawlessness and non-enforcement, the very things that many people come here to this country to escape. Yes, individual people are harmed by deportation, but I don't believe that we are debating that motion tonight. I believe we are debating and can only debate whether or not deportations do more harm than good for the United States, a sovereign nation state and collective of people. The definition of nation state is important here to me. It is not a concept. It is a country with well-defined borders and a shared sense of culture and history. Racially homogeneous countries like Finland and Iceland and Japan.
That's racist. Oh, wait.
They function like a woven blanket. They are unified, and the sameness of every inch of the blanket is a feature of being in that country. It's what you expect. The United States is not like that. Nope. It's a quilt of a dozen patches all stitched together. We have Chinese communities, Venezuelan communities, and Cuban and Latvian within the collective, but it is only made possible by the fact that they do legally belong here and are perceived by other people on the quilt to be contributing to the business of the country and not just the business of their own self-interest. See, this
like sending all the money back home. Like, hey, I get it why you do that, but that's why people who have different interests need to have a law to settle that. You're taking our money and sending it away. Now, the obviously it's your money because I don't know why I use quotes, but it's your money because you worked for it. But it's the money in our economy, and you're taking it out of that.
This is where immigration anarchists to the left embrace the radical individualism and selfishness that is usually found on the libertarian right, where no one person or family has duties to the people around them or an obligation to the collective.
Yep, sounds like modern liberalism.
That's why the ladies on The View, they're clowns, on ABC were so appalled by Arnold Schwarzenegger, an Austrian immigrant who argued that immigrants of all stripes of the United States owe the country something in return for their being here, that it's a
This is the greatest place.
privilege, not a right, that they should be volunteering, doing community service, learning English and speaking it at home. There is more to this than just payroll taxes and their labor for our cheap farm goods. In 2024, Gallup showed that 55% of Americans want immigration levels reduced, which is the highest level since 2001.
So remember, what was the exact number there? 55%. 55% of Americans want immigration to go down. So as we see how the racist angle of this plays out, he's literally going to call more than half of the entire country of the United States of America racist. It's racist. I win.
Goods. In 2020,
I mean, he's a liberal. It's not really a spoiler, but
24, Gallup showed that 55% of Americans want immigration levels reduced, which is the highest level since 2001. For context, that was 28% in 2020. So that's a lot of numbers. It doubled in 4 years. And we think we all know why during the Biden years. Also,
so what was the numbers around? I don't know if you said the numbers around 9/11, but the sentiment to not have new people coming in has not been as bad since people flew planes into buildings. Think about that.
20. So that's a lot of numbers. It doubled in 4 years. And we think we all know why during the Biden years. Also, cause for concern to me, fewer than half of Americans, 44%, now say that they trust all or most of the people in their neighborhood. Down.
Good. I like that.
From 52% a decade ago, and it is worse from 20 years ago. The reasons for this are many, and one of them is uncontrolled, unaccountable, and undemocratic immigration that goes beyond what Americans are comfortable with or what they ever voted for. This decline in support for immigration and the return of nativist politics is bad for the United States. I believe JRTP and I agree on this. We have a century ahead of us that is going to be defined by struggle and great power conflict with much more populous and organized opponents.
The fourth turning, guys. Remember, hard times make strong men. Strong men make good times. Good times that make bad men, and bad men make hard times. There we go. Rhett said, according to the people who want to deportation are racist logic, my friend is racist. My dad is racist. My dog is probably racist too. Who else is a racist that I don't know about? They're lurking everywhere. Exactly. You got it.
Defined by struggle and great power conflict with much more populous and organized opponents, China. And to win this, to maintain our dominance in the world, we actually need more people. I am a proponent, a weird right-wing proponent of the 1 billion Americans strategy that was put out by Matt Iglesias that says we need to triple the size of our population over time.
I don't know about all that. Maybe. I don't know what he's talking about, so I'm not co-signing that.
To meet these challenges. But we can't force Americans to have more babies, and immigration is actually really important. And as such, so is support for immigration, which we've destroyed. If we...
True. Shout out to Papa Lunch. And, he's making a very strong point about how people, like how this stuff moves forward is very connected to how people feel about things. Like, everybody's, facts over feelings. But the fact is that feelings matter when it comes to these issues. And if people feel a certain way, it doesn't matter that you have numbers to say something different. You have to deal with what the people want. That's what America's all about.
Lose the majority's support for national growth and expansion, we will lose on these global challenges. And just to bring us over the finish line, so to return to my original point here, deportations do more good than harm for the country because they reflect the will of the people who have voted for it and a lawful process and the enforcement of immigration law. Getting this right is very important. And in a perfect world, Congress would pass a generous pathway to citizenship that brings everybody out of the shadows, but they haven't done it. And in the meantime, we have to do the correct thing, which is enforce the law of the land.
I don't know. I don't know that a general amnesty is necessarily a good thing. Maybe he's talking about given where we are already and that there's millions and millions and millions of people here already. Maybe he's saying there's there is a path to amnesty that would, actually be good. I'm just trying to interpret what he is saying. Shout out to Ty Cobb in the building. Welcome to the party. Very good to see you.
And done it. And in the meantime, we have to do the correct thing, which is enforce the law of the land. And it might be the case that aggressive deportations actually boost public support for an immigration bill, because there are many people out there who don't like what they're seeing on TV with ICE operations.
True. And so now we're getting into second and third order thinking, and not just, oh, well, they're bad. So well, what is this going to do to the minds of people? And how is this going to change the landscape? How is this going to change people's opinions about this issue? Clearly, we've got a deeper thinker than this guy.
Because there are many people out there who don't like what they're seeing on TV with ICE operations. Americans, go figure, they do tend to want one thing, but they never want the consequences or the bad feelings of the things that come along with that. Joe Rogan's shock at deportations is a very good example of this. The alternative is to do nothing and continue letting the lawless approach of immigration go on, and continue watching public support for immigration collapse when we need it the most, and watch more nativist political figures rise to meet the demand. The alternative is to sit back as watch as American political institutions crumble under a citizenry that doesn't believe the country exists to serve their interests anymore.
And maybe if you were to make that argument before COVID and the lockdowns, then I'd be like, well, you're kind of reaching. But we've seen it happen in front of our faces. We've seen it happen in real time. Josie said, I'm from El Salvador. I came to the States back in 95. My family did it the right way. Became U.S. citizens and contribute to the country. I became a petroleum engineer, and my brother retired from the Air Force. Well, dilly to y'all. And same thing. I am not the same exact thing, but I am a first-generation American. No one in my family has ever been born in America before my brother. And I take pride in that. But with that comes the understanding that Mom and Papa Lutch had to come through the right way and now contribute to society. Adam said, seriously, I live in Illinois. Illegal immigrants drain local resources and cause taxes to go up across the board. I was taxed out of Illinois, and you are not the only one. Not even close. But they're going to say, well, but they don't do as many crimes, so... Oh, no, that's your argument. Okay.
Citizenry that doesn't believe the country exists to serve their interests anymore. Jay will have this audience believe by the end of tonight that what we need to do is be more nice. And if Americans don't wake up tomorrow feeling more nice about illegal immigration, then they should be ignored or forced to stomach the status quo of being surrounded by 11 to 18 million strangers, unaccounted for individuals in this country.
That's a great, the same way that, I don't even remember what it was, but where he kind of preempted, well, he's going to say this is, bringing up Lincoln, the only way that you can get people to care about this issue is talk about examples of this issue. Now he's got one back. So this is going to be the end of the opening, whatever the fuck you call them, and then they're getting into it.
Founded by 11 to 18 million strangers, unaccounted for individuals in this country.
Too many.
A bone is going to have to be thrown to keep this country together and get us back on the path of majority support for controlled immigration that strengthens the United States. That bone is enhanced funding and capacity for mass deportations, which is within the right of any nation state to do, and within the right of a self-governing people to demand.
Well, god damn. Ty said, I'm descended from first-generation Scots-Irish. My ancestors were not allowed to sit on benches. No Irish, no show folks, and no dogs. We've come quite a long way. I mean, don't tell the liberals, but I don't know what is wrong with my brain. You take one day off and I can't talk. We have come quite a long way. I think it's just being patient. Let's be fair. There's plenty of stuff that we're going to be able to jump on from the liberal, but I think it's just being patient for now. Just said, if you don't like watching 2008 Patriots versus any year Jets, as a former Jets fan, I don't like that. But I'm not a fan anymore, so I don't really care.
Thank you, Stephen. And thank you to both of you, gentlemen, not only for being here, but for making such nice opening statements. That was the most I don't even know how to describe it, but it was very good for both of you. Just
She's used to the dumpster fire.
a kind reminder to the audience. We, of course, will get through our debate, and then we will go into closing statements, and we will read and respond to your kind super chats, along with following up with open panel dumpster fire. I do have one small additional note to make this evening. As most of you know of my dog, Nix. Nix blew her knee out over the weekend. She's almost 11 years old and will be requiring surgery to fix it. So just know all of the funding here.
Oh, shout out to the puppy. Nix, she said.
That's where we're going with it. Support the dog fund. We'll make that work. All right, gentlemen, I leave
Support the dog fund.
the floor open to you.
Yeah, just before we start, there's still a bell going off in my ear. Is that able to go off?
I think that's you. I don't hear a bell.
I don't have a bell. it's your buzzer bell. You just turned it off. Okay. Where shall we begin?
You saw how slick she was. She's like, I don't know what you're talking about.
A bell. it's your buzzer bell. You just turned it off. Okay. Where shall we begin?
Yo, I love bringing Morty out to restaurants with me, but I definitely feel ya.
I could respond to what you say. You want to go in there?
Yeah, I spoke second, so you can dive in.
Sure. I think it seems to me that the crux of your argument is that Americans do not like how immigration has been going, and they need a change. So we either do
so far pretty good steal, man.
This or we do nothing.
We do this or we do nothing. So if there is a third option here, then this is a false dichotomy. We need a change. So we either do this or we do nothing. Nope. Because there's other ways to address the issue that aren't doing things the way we are doing or doing nothing. False dichotomy. Let's see what Steven
going does. And they need a change. So we either do this or we do nothing. Is that fair?
Yeah, I am saying that we actually need to respond to the desires of the American public to roll back what has happened with immigration, at least in the past 4 years. What happened under the Biden administration was particularly unpopular and offensive to most people. The scale at which it was happening and so rapidly flooding people's communities coast to coast in this country is something that needs to be rolled back. You're never going to roll back, the decades of illegal immigration that we've had in this country that have not been addressed. And
I think that's an important thing to address, that we are talking about this in 2025. We're not talking about it in 2020 or 2005 or 1998. We're talking about this after the Biden administration.
If the voters want that, they should be given it.
Yeah, my concern is that I think the voters don't know what the fuck they're looking at. Almost every.
Oh, but you do. You know better than all. Typical liberal.
Everybody who came here in the last 4 years came here legally. These were asylum seekers. That is a legal process. And Republicans sat on their hands and refused to vote on a bill from James Langford so that Trump could win the presidency. It's really hard for me to accept this idea that Republicans actually want to fix immigration when they sat on their hands and refused to pass a bill that would have effectively shut down the border, closed the border for months at a time.
So here's the thing. There's a difference between people who vote for Republicans and the people who are Republicans. I don't have the power to address any of that. All I can do is express my will and hope that the people who were voted in to represent me do that. That's all. You ain't going to get any arguments from, I don't think, anybody here that the Republican Party is full of shitbags and assholes. But what does that have to do with what we're talking about? Adam said legal immigrants are some of the most patriotic Americans. The one thing people don't want to talk about is how illegals keep legal immigrants waiting longer in the queue. Absolutely great point. Yeah, if only the people who were coming here to do what we want immigrants to do, if those were the only people in line, well, the process wouldn't be that long. I mean, I don't know how short it would be, but it certainly would be shorter than what we have now. Hey, shout out to Arrow getting us started with the Swogo. Of course, guys, every donation comes with a treat for Morty. And check out that Swogo at the top of the chat. If we get 15 supers or a $50 total, I will do a push-up for every $2. Look at these puny little arms. You guys got to bulk me up. Arrow's got it started. Thank you so very, very much. And, of course, that makes you the new sponsor of the stream. Very, very, very much appreciated. Before we dive back in, let's say hello to Box. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the party. Box said net positive, but the optics are horrible. The execution is horrible, and it's not a substitute for a robust immigration system that works faster than on a 10-year timescale. Well, hey, I agree with you there, except for the fact that they, completely agree. Completely agree. High five, Box. We very rarely agree 100%. There's a lot of overlap, but usually defer somewhere. But thank you for, again, we are on the same page with this one. Thank you again to Arrow sponsoring the stream.
Refused to pass a bill that would have effectively shut down the border, closed the border for months at a time. At the time, we had 8,000 people coming across the border, and James Langford bill would have shut down the border because the 7-day rolling average would have been over 5,000. We would have shut that down. But almost everybody, if you look at illegal immigration during the Biden administration, that number actually was down. It was legal immigration, and it's fair to say that a lot of these people had asylum claims that will not be approved, and that they didn't have a legitimate asylum claim.
Okay, so that's what we're talking about, bro. Just because you said the word doesn't mean that it changes the situation. And going back to what Adam said, all these asylum seekers, well, there are real asylum seekers out there, and they've got to wait behind. Oh, I heard that if you say this word, they let you right in, and they do.
Say that a lot of these people had asylum claims that will not be approved, and that they didn't have a legitimate asylum claim.
That is such a stretch. That is. I mean, I'm saying
probably 90%. Probably 90% of them. But that's what's crazy about this. None of those people that came during the Biden administration are eligible for deportation under Trump's new strategy. Those people are here under an asylum process. If they haven't had their asylum claim heard, they're not being deported.
That is such a bizarre claim. I don't even know where to begin. The asylum process is a real thing that exists. When you go through the border, you go through these checkpoints, and then you get paired up with a case, a judge who's managing all these different cases. These catch and release cases, which were, they were 6,500 a day when we were looking at like 2022 coming into this country. We are upwards of like 4 million or something just in the past couple of years. These are not all legal. That's a really, really weird rhetorical trick to try to play.
How's that not?
Semantic obfuscation. Taking the meaning or usage of words and twisting them to make your own point. You can get your very own, what is this, a mouse pad. You can get a button. You can even get a phone case of our stuff. Semantic obfuscation design, and any of these here at TheIndianJesus.com. Go on, get it. Go on, get it.
Not legal.
When
if
people
they come claiming asylum, isn't that legal? Oh my
God, claiming asylum. So just because, like,
that's the process,
no,
though, right?
Just because you know that you can say the word asylum does not mean that you just walk across the border and shout it, and it becomes.
Actually, it does.
And it,
yeah, and that's exactly. Well, that's what is wrong with me tonight. That is specifically what they're banking on. That you actually can. You can actually. And that's a good thing, thanks the liberal.
Word asylum does not mean that you just walk across the border and shout it, and it becomes.
Actually, it does.
And no, it does not. It does not.
It does.
True.
I'm with the liberal. It actually does. Should it? Absolutely not. But does it? Clearly.
And so my question for you. Hold on. My question for you is, what is the limiting principle on this? Because I'll give you one where I will.
He's like, what's a limiting principle?
Throw a bone. I said that earlier. Like Venezuela, like that's a good example of a country, political unrest, it's falling apart. If you oppose the regime, you'll be killed or detained or locked up. There's a pretty good case for a lot of people fleeing Venezuela and trying to get up to the United States as quick as possible to avoid that kind of persecution.
Put a 1 in the chat if you think that we should not have any kind of asylum process. Put a 1 in the chat if you think we should not have an asylum process.
But if you just sort of take that and go, wow, South America is a mess, the entire continent is overrun by political turmoil and drug cartels, then you're basically just saying that, oh, shit has gone south down below the border. They can all come up here. That is not how this has ever worked. It's not how.
Nope. Long said, I'm just getting settled in here, but I have to say, I heard the best idea so far out of Florida, of all places. DeSantis said, deputize the National Guard and make them immigration judges. I don't hate that. Legally, that is a thing we could do, as far as I can tell. I think. I mean, yeah. I obviously, I would need to see the details, but just hearing it on face value, I am down with it. That's $2 for $2. 2 for 2, brother. Bringing people together. Josie said, if you come here illegally, but you have money, you can pay a good lawyer to represent you, and that'll cut your waiting period. You'll become a citizen within 24 months or less. That's America, Jack. I mean, yep, that's how most things. That's how most things work. Don't say vagina. Okay, I won't. Well, unless equality shows up. Hey, wrong ones. There we go. Shout out to Adam. Said asylum has turned America into asylum. Asylum? What's asylum? Wait a minute. Did you mistype that, or did I not get it? Hold on. What? We gotta get the full. Asylum is not a sting. Okay, so I think you meant turning us into an asylum. And great. Thank you. So very, very much for another $2. Make you holler. Morty very, very much appreciates that. And the number of push-ups goes up. Thank you. Now, a slum. There we go. That's even better. Dilly to that. Asylum has turned America into a slum. Love it. That is even better. And of course, you are now the new co-sponsor of the stream. Yeah, right? Make mental asylums great again. Please. We need them.
Down below the border, they can all come up here. That is not how this has ever worked. It's not how it's intended to work. I don't even think that's how you want it to work.
Nope. Stephen, if you come to this country and you walk across the border and you claim asylum, what are you entitled to?
Too much.
Oh, you want me to respond on the spot? You are entitled to a case manager to actually look at your claim and determine whether or not there is a threat of meaningful violence to you upon your return home.
Right. And if that claim cannot be heard immediately, what happens? You can remain in the country until your claim is heard, right?
Yes.
Okay, so almost everybody that came here during the Biden administration came here under the asylum process, which means that none of these people that you're talking about from the Biden administration, they're not being deported right now.
Mental gymnastics.
You're going into workplaces. You're going into courts. You're going into communities. None of the people right now that are being deported are asylum seekers that came during the Biden administration. My biggest contention.
And why is it that we randomly just saw a huge uptick in the number of asylum seekers, specifically in the Biden administration, and then as soon as Trump got back in, it stopped?
And I'm going to be honest, like, it's a little bit sad to hear this. My biggest contention is that Americans support Donald Trump's deportation. Well, you said about 60% that we want to deport people because they don't know what the fuck they're looking at. They have no clue. It's the same people that believed that in Springfield, they were eating the cats and eating the dogs.
They're eating the dogs. And I mean, hey, look, fog of war. You didn't know that it wasn't real until you saw the fucking news report that said it wasn't real. You didn't know. So don't act like you knew.
No clue. It's the same people that believed that in Springfield, they were eating the cats and eating the dogs. And that wasn't true. Nobody knows what they're looking at because one party has decided to show up every single day and lie about what's going on at our southern border. They lied about it the entire time.
So there's not people who don't belong in this country pouring over the border? Is that what you're saying?
Nothing Joe Biden could have done. Joe Biden could not unilaterally change the amnesty laws. The amnesty laws were written in a bipartisan manner in Langford's bill, so they would change it, and that would have stopped all the traffic at the border on that day. It would have stopped all the traffic at the border.
Would you have
and who was the president there? And how much of it was Republican? Congress was Republican at that point?
Republicans said, we want Donald Trump to run on how broken our border is, so they allowed this just to...
Yeah, it's almost like we saw what the fuck Biden was doing and was like, oh my goodness, we need to fix this. Seems reasonable.
We want Donald Trump to run on how broken our border is, so they allowed this just to continue to fester through,
like a typical liberal.
Biden's entire presidency, so they could run on fixing amnesty, and they still haven't done it. We're still not fixing amnesty.
And then man.
To see the traffic at the border stopped.
Sure.
Why?
Good question. Oh, why? Why do you want to see the traffic at the border stopped? Because there's too many people? Because we don't have the resources? Because what? And if you want that, then why are you fighting against that? Great question.
To see the traffic at the border stopped.
Sure.
Why?
Because it was too many people.
Oh, really? It was too many
overrun.
people? You said there was no situation at the border. You just said it was a lie that there was a humanitarian crisis at the border.
No.
What do you mean it's overrun?
No, I said they lied about what was happening at the border. They said that these were illegal immigrants pouring across our border. And that's...
Do you... Okay, this is... this is a genuine question, and it might be just, semantics within the law. But is the only difference between what you would call, what he would call an illegal immigrant and an asylum seeker the word asylum? Is that literally it? Because in my mind, the difference between an illegal immigrant and someone seeking asylum is that the asylum seeker is genuinely seeking asylum from something dangerous, whereas an illegal immigrant might say a magic word and get into this country knowing that if you say asylum, but they're not seeking asylum, they're seeking economic opportunity.
At the border, they said that these were illegal immigrants pouring across our border,
and they were, and they are. Fox said I could stop this with 2 laws. Minimum wage applies to everyone, even labor visas, and companies get shut down if they get caught using second-class labor. Some people stole a goose the other day, caught on camera, they got arrested, but never found the goose. Just saying. Just saying. Just saying. I mean, if we're only going to trust the news outlets and politicians, I mean, there's no Epstein list. There's no Epstein client list. And so that's why this is not a, like, so what would, again, you would have to be in the time between the rumor of the cats and dogs started and whatever article came out that officially debunked that. You would have to been, I know this is not happening because, I don't think this is happening. If you think this is happening, it's racist. But have actual evidence to believe, no, I think this is false because of this. Then you get a pass. But you didn't fucking know. Adam said, does he think they were coming over to borrow a cup of sugar? Arrow said, the 1980 minimum wage was $3.10. I don't know how I survived. And I make $2.13. There we go. But I mean, I'll be making back. I'll be getting them tips. Cute little face. I got the... Anyway. Box said, you're better off going for a work visa over an asylum claim. Don't lie to us, bro. Yep. Not a good way to start a relationship. Josie said, real shit though. When I came to the U.S. and seen lots of birds and rabbits all over the place, I wondered why people weren't trapping them so they can have them for dinner. Yeah, that's not racist. That's just common sense. If you are from a place where you catch wild animals and you go to a different place and you see that they're not catching animals, what's going on here? And so I still believe that, I mean, you've seen the videos of people in Springfield being like, I've seen this, I've seen that, I've seen that. Okay, maybe half of them, let's give it to 60% of them are just going along with what they think people want to hear. Maybe. But all of them? Come on, man. Box of the Epstein thing even got the left pissed off today. Everyone is pissed about that. Bingo. Yeah, I think the which video? Police. Yeah. So technically it is minimum wage if I don't make minimum wage, which I make a lot more in tips. But especially with no tax on tips, baby. But yeah, that's the hourly rate for tipped positions, at least in Jersey. But yeah, I mean, in terms of the shout out to Boggs. My bad, it was a stolen swan. That makes everything better. Swan, oh, okay. Goose, I mean, if you're eating a goose, like, that's terrible, horrible, no good, very bad. But it's a swan, so if you feel disgusting for the white swan, then what was I going to say? Yeah. But the Epstein thing, I think this is my theory, and I heard a lot of other people saying it, but only after I already thought of it. I don't think they were ever planning to release that list. They knew from day one. From day one, they're like, all right, here's the story. Epstein's going to Epstein himself. Probably, I still don't believe that happened. I think he's just chilling on his island. And then we'll pretend like we've got him. Then we're even going to go after Ghislaine. But we can never release that list because you and I and our best friends and everybody we know is on that list. So when you see a bipartisan thing that is getting people angry, that is, I mean, as clear evidence as you can get that some fuckery is afoot in the government. I mean, well, again, I think they both are. All right, let's take a little side quest from our boy Box. It wasn't a goose. It was a swan. Come on, baby. What do we do?
There is outrage over the abduction of one of Mother Nature's most magnificent creatures, a swan. The suspect was caught running down the street with the giant swan tucked under his arm. Then he stuffs the bird into the back seat of the getaway car.
Notice how they're all white.
With his buddies, the four knuckleheads are cracking up as they take off.
It was a little brutal. You can tell they had experience holding these birds.
Stephanie.
That is speculation, but it's a weird thing to pull out of nowhere if you're just making it up. That is a weird thing to just make up. How would you determine that somebody would have experience in handling birds unless you saw them do something like, oh, I wouldn't have even thought of that.
They take off.
It was a little brutal. You can tell they had experience holding these birds.
Stephanie Santiago witnessed the swan napping.
One of them was actually looking out the window with a stupid smile on his face. And I told him, I was like, you're going to see me. Remember me, because you're going to see me again. And when you see me, you won't be smiling.
Swans are...
Yeah, right. Where was PETA? Where was PETA during all that? Oh, my God. Oh, my God. I remember a time when... What was it? Oh, it was around the time my brother first went vegetarian. And he's still vegetarian, and he's since become, a really liberal because of his girl. But back then, he was more of the apathetic Gen X, I don't give a shit about any of this type. And something with one of those PETA documentaries, it was like a 20-minute video where they show you what's going on in factory farms and everything. That got to him. And it was maybe a month or so later that I told somebody about this, that I'd seen this thing, and my brother went vegetarian, and I'm thinking about it, but I don't know, and da-da-da-da-da. And they were like, yeah, that's all bullshit. PETA fucking kills animals left and right. It's one of the biggest scams in America. But PETA. I did not make a Tim Capello reference because I don't know who that is. Where we at? Yeah, right. Maybe they just wanted some pets. Whoa, where we go? Adam said Epstein was Mossad. Trump is compromised. None of this makes sense. I'm starting to, look a little left. I'm starting to look a little left at the entire thing. They're eating the swans. So I said, I think she's used to handle big birds so she can spot a bird handler. Well, I mean, again, I think that it's just a matter of like, wait, how did you know to go like that and that and that? But my point is that if you were going to make up a lie about this, that is not something that you would make up. It looked like they had experience handling the birds. That's so obscure. To lie about that is, I mean, brilliant if it's a lie. Quanzek said, swans are not magnificent. They're brutal and stupid and often pick fights with any animal, usually animals bigger than it. Actually, swans are pretty based. There you go. Yeah, my brother, speaking of my brother, he was attacked by a, was that a swan? I think it was a swan, not a goose. Pretty sure it was a swan. He was attacked once. Yeah. All right, let's dive back in here.
Remember me, because you're going to see me again. And when you see me, you won't be smiling.
Swans are known for being territorial and making loud noises. if a human gets too close. But the snatched swan is a species known as a mute swan. These swans are even quieter, so she didn't make a lot of noise when she was taken. To make this
Yeah, I'm not really so interested in the swan as I am about the people, lady.
all the more upsetting, the swan had just given birth, and her lifelong mate has been calling out in distress, desperate for his long-lost love.
Bruh, I mean, like, okay, I appreciate that extra part, but like the swan's emotions are not really at the top of my list. Like, I mean, whether they're gonna eat a swan or fuck a swan, maybe I don't want to know. But yeah, it is true. They do have life partners, and you know, the well, so they're going into the arrest here. All right, let's see it.
Long mate has been calling out in distress.
It was a black swan event. You get half credit. Because oh, is that the guy? I thought he was casting for the White Swan. Is that this guy? Where's his name? Is that Tim Capello? Is that what you were talking about, or were we just talking about something else? But brilliant. It was a black swan event.
Swan had just given for his long-lost love. Stephanie shared her video of the theft and the Howard Beach community in Queens, New York.
All right, let's see what she sees about handling birds.
Leapt into action.
The community was enraged. These birds are a fixture in our community. They have families, they have babies, they reproduce.
A resident spotted the suspects and called cops.
They have apprehended the vehicle that was used and involved with.
Arrow is not impressed. But that's precisely why I'm not really focused on the like, hey, I care that, you know, they have life partners, and male swan is going to be sad. I mean, the male loneliness epidemic, you know what I mean? But like the larger point here is the people. That was all I meant.
Cops.
They have apprehended the vehicle that was used and involved with the swan abduction, and the vehicle and the occupants unfortunately have no swan with them.
We've seen swan nappings before. In 2021, this guy was charged with grand theft for stealing baby swans from their
Okay, we got a whitey though. We got a whitey, right? I think.
Parents in Orlando.
I can't tell because of the light.
Watch as he pushes the parents out of the way to put the little ones in a red cooler.
They won't be here tomorrow.
So, what happened to the abducted swan from Queens? Unfortunately, it's a mystery.
We don't know if we'll ever see that bird again.
That bird don't exist anymore. That bird is a turd. That bird is now an what was it? Ethiopia? Not what was the country that was in Springfield that they were worried about? Haiti? I don't remember. Arrow said Zeus turned himself into a swan and raped Leda. That was impressive. I'll leave that one for you. Hope the swan is in GTA 6. We're gonna figure out what's good with these birds before we get GTA 6. The bird, birds, the word, bird. Oh yeah. Guanze said maybe I'm just still fresh from baby brain, but the puppy swan's feelings actually got me in the feels. I mean, I'm not caring. I'm just caring more about the people. But baby brain, I feel you. I feel you, brother. Like I said, I don't ever want to hear that they aren't poaching wildlife again. Period. With a T.
Unfortunately, it's a mystery.
We don't know if we'll ever see that bird again.
Police are investigating if the swan was stolen.
They're eating the swans.
Humanitarian crisis at the border.
No.
What do you mean it's overrun?
I said they lied about what was happening at the border. They said that these were illegal immigrants pouring across our border. And that's not the case. These were almost exclusive.
Isn't it though? Isn't that exactly what we're talking about?
Exclusively legal immigrants pouring across our border.
I'm trying to think of a good analogy of where, you know, you do a thing that is wrong, but because of a technicality that it is not illegal, and throw that back to him as like, okay, well, since to you, we both agree that there are people who do not meet asylum claims, but you're saying it's okay that they come here because they said the word asylum. What is another crime where, you know, it's like, well, I didn't mean to steal from you. It's like, oh, I said the word borrow, so me taking your shit isn't stealing. Like, that's essentially the argument that he's making. Lady can check my bird out. Yup.
That's not the case. These were almost exclusively legal immigrants pouring across our border.
And you said it was too much.
Yes, which is why we needed to which is why we have to change our amnesty laws, which can only be done through Congress. But Republicans sat on their hands to make sure Donald Trump won the election. They
Thank God.
refused to do anything for 2 straight years. So that
They refused to do anything for 2 straight years. Meanwhile, the Biden administration actively helped the problem for 6 straight years.
Donald Trump could win an election and then still do nothing about amnesty. We still haven't fixed the problem.
We're trying.
No, I just find this to be puzzling as a line of attack that you sort of want the Langford approach to have actually passed to stop the flow at the border. You say it's too many people, but you also sort of hand wave it away as if there is no problem.
No, I'm not doing that. No, there's a massive problem.
Bucks, I'm sorry. I gotta add you to the banner as a co-sponsor. Thank you so much, brother.
But you also sort of hand wave it away as if there is no problem.
No, I'm not doing that. No, there's a massive problem. I don't understand why you guys lie about it. I don't understand why you don't tell the American people the truth. The truth is,
okay. I think he's going to address it now.
I don't understand why you guys lie about it. I don't understand why you don't tell the American people the truth. The truth is,
you're not talking to a Republican member of Congress. You're talking to a guy who lives here. So there is.
And this is something that I've brought up over and over and over and over on both sides, that there is a huge difference between Republican politicians and conservative voters, as well as Democratic politicians and liberal voters. There's, they're not completely different, but they are different groups of people. They are different groups of people. And you can see here that he's trying to switch back and forth. That, we saw they're eating the dogs. That's coming from the people. Donald Trump was repeating that. It didn't start with Donald Trump. But now, when it's convenient for him, he switches back. You are lying. I didn't say shit.
The truth is,
you're not talking to a Republican member of Congress. You're talking to a guy who lives here. So there is no you guys.
You don't seem to know this, Stephen. You don't seem to know that these people were amnesty seekers.
No,
so I'm curious.
Oh no, we know. We just don't believe them.
I do know that people come across and shout the word amnesty.
That's the law.
Look, you can manipulate.
Well, that's the law. So it's okay. It's okay. You could bring up a million different things. Well, that's the law. So, and you'd be like, that law's terrible. This guy's triggering me. I'm trying not to get triggered. He's triggering me already. We only just got started. All right. Arrow said, I spent enough time in Mexico to be sympathetic to their desire for a better life for their families. Yeah, I think anybody can, at least intellectually, understand that you want the best for your family, and the best is America. But there's laws. I know you're, Arrow, not saying that that's okay. I'm just saying, like, to add on to your point. Yeah, it's not that we're mean and we don't understand why. Why would you want to come to America? We get it. That's just not enough to overturn the rules that keep our culture together. Well, like I said, I don't like being lumped into you guys either. I feel for that. Yeah. And that's why I said on both
come across and shout the word amnesty.
That's the law.
Look, you can manipulate the law 100 different ways.
So how do you change the law
coming across the border and shouting amnesty because your countries have been run into the ground and poorly run is not something that you can just walk across the border, board a train, hide in someone's trunk, go below the floorboards of an 8.
Well, no, that's the entire point, bro, is that they don't have to do that. Because they can say the magic word, asylum, and they are standing there waiting in line. Because they said the magic word. Saving the whale. I was going to say, I'm pretty sure that was a PETA thing. Now, the SeaWorld thing with the orcas, that was legit. That we definitely don't like. But I'm pretty sure that PETA was behind Save the Whales. Well, they're doing just fine.
Train, hide in someone's trunk, go below the floorboards of an 18-wheeler, come into the country, and then disappear.
Yeah, most of those things are things that weren't happening.
I agree. They weren't happening because Biden was like, come on over, surge the border, just say this magic word.
These people you could literally watch the lines at Eagle Pass. There were lines, like hour-long lines. I have a friend who was down there golfing, taking video of the people on the other side of the wall waving at him, waiting in line.
Wait till I tell you about birds.
I just don't understand, Stephen, how you recognize that our amnesty laws are broken, and this is what Republicans seem to want to do right now. They say the amnesty laws are broken, those that know, or at least or learn that the amnesty laws are why we had all this immigration, and then they say we should do something about it, and that thing we should do about it is not to fix the law. We
notice how he still has yet to address Stephen is his name as his arguments. He's fighting Republicans. Are the Republican politicians in the room with us?
should just start deporting people. Why not fix the law?
The super chat from Mike RFF Lifestyle said economic pursuit post terrible COVID policy is not asylum. Plus, if America is such a bad place, claim asylum in your neighboring country.
Bingo.
But is not to fix the law. We should just start deporting people. Why not fix the law?
Why not deport people who aren't supposed to be here?
They are, but that's not these people who came. Most of these people, again, Stephen, none of the people that you're talking about that came in during the Biden administration, almost none, are the people being deported now.
I gotta give it to him there. We were definitely sold a different picture of what kind of deportations we were going to get. I thought we were going after, the worst of the worst of the worst. And like, yes, a nice family that's been here for 10 years and has never gotten in trouble and all that stuff. They need to go too. But they are way less of a threat to me as a person, anyone else as a person, or America as the culture that we're talking about. Bach said, so I guess all of Mexico's poor come here and all of our rich go there. And now locals in Mexico are having a hard time affording the rent and are protesting gringos. Only Al Jazeera is reporting on it right now. So are you. These liberal policies always come back to bite you in the ass. And it's always, like Stephen said, based on being nice. We want to be nice. We don't want to be mean. And then it comes down and bites you in the ass. Shout out to Maria. Why did I call you Maria? I'm off today. I don't know what is going on. I cannot talk today. Mara is in the building. Welcome to the party. Hope you are doing well as well.
None of the people that you're talking about that came in during the Biden administration, almost none, are the people being deported now, because those people still have protected status because of amnesty.
Yeah, with the best analogy I heard for the mostly peaceful thing is that like if there's a house on fire and it's only in the kitchen, well, the house is mostly not on fire, so We also got Dylan Soup in the building. Welcome to the party, sir.
Administration, almost none are the people being deported now, because those people still have protected status because of amnesty.
In Mexico, like you don't have to do things the way that the Biden administration was doing it.
Mexico said no, they didn't want to do it anymore.
Oh no, Mexico said no. What are we gonna do? That you're pushing for us to be even more of a world power than we already are.
Have to do things the way that the Biden administration was doing it.
Mexico said no, they didn't want to do it anymore.
Maybe they don't get to say no. They're a weaker and lesser country than we are. We can tell them what they're going to do if you actually twist people's wrists.
Do you notice how already you have resorted to forcing other countries to do it your way? Because
yup, that's because we're right and you're wrong. If you would like to argue that, I thought that was what we were here for. But you're just saying, yeah, you want your ideas to be everybody's ideas. Yep, because I have good ideas. Now, if you can tell me that my ideas are not good, then I won't want people to have them. But you haven't done that. You've just said, well, it's different, and you're mean because you're forcing other countries to do things the way that you want to do it. Welcome to planet Earth. Welcome to humanity. Infilm said, I think we're going after the worst of the worst. The worst of the worst of the worst, but if somebody else pops on the radar, then they're getting rid of them also. And I mean, I can understand that, but exactly to the point of people like this, it should be a top priority the top priority should be getting people who don't belong in this country out of the country. Priority number 2 should be that we are, making it look nice. When we already have Orange Man bad, there's no reason to add things that make him look worse. Hey, Josie said Mexico is a scam. We're getting scammed all over the place. And another treat for Marty. Thank you so very, very much. We got a bunch of co-sponsors in the building. One more, guys, and we are a third of the way there. It doesn't have to be Funkmaster coming in and dropping a lot of money. 15 super chats of any amount. Any amount will hit the goal. Thank you, guest.
Do you notice how already you have resorted to forcing other countries to do it your way because you don't want to admit that, like, you guys just don't know what's going on?
I mean, geopolitics is a real thing. You can make other countries do things that you want.
Yeah,
them to do.
so is legislation, and we could do that. But Republicans didn't want to do that because I think
if
the
we're gonna
reality
keep
is
going back to like
Republicans know
immigration
that
reform,
they don't have real things to run on, so they're going to run on fear. That's why you can't see a Republican go on a microphone without saying the words Lake and Riley. That's why they do. That's why.
Ask him why that is relevant. Ask him why yes, that is anecdotal. But it is not anecdotal in the sense that this just happened once. It is an example of things that are happening all over the place that we just don't know their names. So we use the Lake and Rileys the same way people like you will use the Kilmar Abrego Garcias. Oh, I don't want to hear your anecdotal bullshit. It's all fucking bullshit. Shout out to Mara, not Maria. Mara, a.k.a. Amanda, said Canada is a scam. Canada definitely is a scam. I agree with you on that one. Oh, man. Yeah, wait, Morty, eat up on that one. She's spitting bars. Thank you. So very, very much, guys. That is 1/3 of the way there. 1/3 of the way there. And you got to make, and I got to do push-ups. And again, guys, look how fucking puny I am. Help me out. Like these nice people. Thank you.
That's why you can't see a Republican go on a microphone without saying the words Lake and Riley. That's why they do. That's why they lied to you about eating the cats and eating the dogs. That's why the constant fear mongering. That's why Trump sent in the National Guard to California to fearmonger and said the whole city's on fire. These are riots. It was like a handful of incidents. That's why. It's because instead of doing the right thing, instead of doing things the right way, this party, for whatever reason, has said, we're not doing legislation anymore. We're not fixing laws anymore. We are going to hand over all the power to Donald Trump, and we are blindly going to follow what he does. And that.
Oh my goodness. Not only Mexico, not only Canada, not only immigration, but now Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico is a scam? I mean, there's definitely been some shady shit. Are they a state? Are they a territory? I don't know, man. Thank you. And of course, guys, that gives Josie the sole sponsor spot. Thank you so much. We are more than 1/3 of the way to the goal, and Josie has become the sole sponsor of the stream. Thank you so very, very much. Any film said Mexico said no. Let's throw the Constitution out the window. That's the argument. Thank you so very, very much, guys. If you don't mind, let's take a little break. If you guys are enjoying the show, the party rages on 24/7 over in our Discord. The link is pinned to the top of the chat and is absolutely free to join 24/7. We're in there hanging out, having a great time. And guys, it is absolutely free. However, if you are a member of this channel here on YouTube, you can scroll right below that video and hit that join button. Starts at $2.99. There's a few different tiers, but $2.99 will get you in. It gets you members only live streams here on YouTube, all that other good stuff. But it opens up the full Discord server. So we've got the free chat that is open to anyone. Anybody can join and talk. But as you can see, that is just one of our channels. There's a bunch of different channels here, including our Disciple chat for members only, our Word of the Day watch party, where we're talking about all this stuff. And of course, we have the voice channel here, where we are hanging out at this moment. Shout out to everybody in the Discord server. Say hello and tell them to come and join. There you go, guys. Simple as that. See you there. And of course, remember, guys, that after party that you just saw is for members only. However, if you click the link that is pinned at the top of the chat before the stream ends, you get a day pass for the entire server. So again, we have the free chat that's open to anybody all the time, but we got a bunch of other stuff to come and join us.
That has led to all the power to Donald Trump, and we are blindly going to follow what he does. And that has led to U.S. citizens being detained, U.S. citizens being arrested.
It's not blindly at all. How is it blindly? All of us are sitting here being like, yeah, I don't love this, I don't love that. But the general intention of deporting people who don't belong here, we absolutely want that because of the fact that we want a country. Every president ever, at least in my lifetime, has been about a secure border.
Going to
Left or
follow what
right?
he does, and that has led to U.S. citizens being detained, U.S. citizens being arrested. That has caused 75% of the people in CCOT who are serving life sentences in El Salvador, their only crime was a misdemeanor of overstaying a visa or crossing the border. We've chosen cruelty rather than just use the laws and fix it.
Well,
I thought we were just tugging at heartstrings, but now look what we've got. Oh my goodness, Josie, again! Again! So the dog behind you is 100% a scam. All right. Be nice to the Overlord, please. Just kidding. Thank you. He's like, fuck, I'll be a scam for a treat. Why the hell not? Thank you. Out sponsoring yourself. Very much appreciated.
We've chosen cruelty rather than just use the laws and fix it.
Well, I mean, if you're going to kind of keep going back to immigration reform and doing some sort of bill, I mean, I think you know that I'm in favor of that. Legislation is absolutely what this country needs, and then in the absence of legislation that addresses immigration, sets up a pathway. And when people say get in line for immigration, there is no line. You will wait 20 years to go through a legal process in this country, and it is a huge, huge problem, and it is a national embarrassment. But we are talking about deportations and whether or not they do more harm than good. And so I want to redirect the conversation back to the spirit of this country and what I think people are so angry about and what they are clearly reflecting their anger in their voting habits. I am deeply concerned. And someone in the chat was mocking the idea of the crumbling American institutions, but like
that ain't no joke.
This is true, and you talked about it as well, Jay. The crumbling trust in American institutions, public trust is eroding, and a huge part of this has to do not only with immigration, but just a feeling that people are not being heard by their government. The immigration issue, people want addressed. People also want to know their neighbors. They want to know the people who live in their neighborhood.
You know, community, not only something very important in Christianity, but also super important in the American identity that will bring us all together, no matter what you believe, as long as you believe in meritocracy, capitalism, community, family, ritual, tradition, all of those kinds of things. Doesn't matter what else you believe, you are on the right team. Oh my goodness, you guys, we've got Indie Film with a $5 over on the Rumble rant. Said, I'm planning to go to Puerto Rico this year. Sounds like we should have an TheIndianJesus gathering. Well, if you're paying for tickets, I am fucking down. Hell yes, I will take a trip to Puerto Rico. And of course, a treat for Morty. Thank you. So very, very much. Oh God, I'm gonna have to do some fucking math after this. Oh Jesus. And then Josie goes fucking hard. The whole chat. You're all bots? I thought you guys liked me. I thought we were friends. Oh, no, I can't. Thank you, guys. Oh, my goodness. And Mara again. So forgive him, Lord Morty. He knows not what he speaks. They don't know any better. Thank you. Morty is loving it, guys. I'm pretty sure he's starting to lose his hearing. I thought he was like deaf, but I think in general he's losing his hearing. But he's definitely hearing this, guys. Thank you so very, very much. I gotta do a little bit of math here, and then I'll call out the sponsor. But thank you guys so very, very much. Look how fucking happy he is. Thank you so very, very much.
Addressed. People also want to know their neighbors. They want to know the people who live in their neighborhood. They want to feel connected to other Americans. I think this is a huge, huge problem. I'm actually legitimately terrified.
What does knowing your neighbors have to do with immigration?
Community, culture, being an American. That used to mean something. Now it means you're either somebody who cares about freedom and all that stuff, or somebody from somewhere who said a silent one time. That's what it has to do with immigration.
This is a huge, huge problem. I'm actually legitimately terrified.
What does knowing your neighbors have to do with immigration?
It has a lot.
Are you saying that you can't know them if they're from another culture?
What I'm
Not if they don't assimilate to our culture. No, I don't understand these other languages, so no. Sorry, that's how knowledge and people and things work.
It has a lot.
Are you saying that you can't know them if they're from another culture?
What I'm saying is that when you have neighbors living next door, crowded into a house, maybe 5, 6 contractor trucks who all live in the single family home next door, and what laugh?
I mean, that's
laugh.
bizarre.
No, you laugh.
There's illegal
You
immigrants
laugh
all
as
around
if
me.
that does. You laugh as if that doesn't happen.
You're acting like that's the norm. That's not the
No.
norm. I live in Arizona. That's not the norm.
It is absolutely the norm.
Where
They
do you
have
live?
a couple. I live in the DC area, so I live
Okay,
in.
well, I can tell you in a border state, I can tell you unequivocally
I'm
that is
sure
not
it's everywhere,
that is not the norm.
which is I find it puzzling to laugh at it. In Manassas, Virginia, it is absolutely the norm. Most of the single family homes in this borough that I live in, you can just kind of see which ones are occupied by 5.
Fuck, what's 7? What's 7 plus? I don't
6
even remember.
contractor
No,
trucks. People who are not tied
Why
into
is
the
that a
community.
problem?
Let me finish my sentence. People who are not tied into the community, people who are living together, going to work, coming home. They're never contributing anything to the place that they live. They have simply bought up real estate that was intended for families who are going to do a.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm too stupid. 8 plus 5 is 15, right? And then 15 plus 5. We are at $20, guys. $20 and 11 donations. You guys are amazing. Amazing.
Simply bought up real estate that was intended for families who are going to do events together in their neighborhoods, families that are going to know each other, have cookouts, have kids who play together. But a lot of our real estate across this area is just being gobbled up by people who don't actually have any legal status in the country and don't contribute to the community.
That's kind of been the theme of anything that comes out of his mouth. It's just an odd thing to say.
Brother, if
And
I
that
played
is
those
a
exact
real
words,
problem.
if I played those exact words, or if I just wrote down those words and I put them on a piece of paper and I said, this guy's talking about segregation in the civil rights era, they'd be like,
Oh, so you mean like the argument that you were making about the crops before, that I could just swap it out for slavery? Projection. These liberals and their damn projection. It's OD. And yes, 13. Thank you very much. Plus the 5 over from Indie Film. You guys are coming the root. Box said immigrants have taken up the housing and a lot of other things too. Adam said, if it's a problem for someone to come in your home, then don't tell me it's not a fucking problem for people to come into our home, our American home, illegally. Bingo. Exactly. It's just that simple. When you have principles, it makes things easier. It makes things easier because you just go by the principle. What these liberals have to do is take each individual issue and decide. They decide, okay, this is what I want to think. This is what I want my conclusion to be. How do I work backwards from there to say that? We got Matthew King in the building. Welcome. Very good to see you, brother. Buck said, Insurgent Math says 5 plus 8 equals 79. Unfortunately true. Fortunately for us, we are not doing Insurgent Math. We are doing basic arithmetic, which unfortunately I'm not very good at. But we are here. Ty said, when the Shah of Iran was deposed, the influx of Iranian immigrants was a fucking nightmare for a pharmacy technician. There you go. Bog said, I know a lot of people on the left that feel the same way. The politicians have gone rogue along with the mainstream media. Bingo. Yep. And I think this is the point that I think anyone who is willing to not play this as team sports, understanding that, okay, the landscape is changing. It's no longer left versus right. It's about the people who care about America and the people who hate America. There's class issues and all that stuff too, but it is the people who care about America versus the people who hate America. Math and music, universal language, right? And even said, my little Italian grandmother's family came over in the 1910s and learned English. My mother speaks very little Italian. They wanted to be Americans.
Bingo.
I say they are on our team. Beautiful. Box, just be boxed.
Piece of paper and I said, this guy's talking about segregation in the civil rights era, they'd be like, oh yeah, that's the exact same argument.
And again, I'll just repeat that, yeah, we could do that with your argument and slavery. So which is worse, slavery or civil rights? Ooh. Guys, if you can do me a huge favor and hit that like button, it is free, it is easy, and it helps out the channel so very, very much. Thank you, guys.
About segregation in the
Definitely discovered.
civil rights era, they'd be like, oh yeah, that's the exact same argument. I don't like these people.
Oh,
because
the guy who was talking about
hold
the
on,
cheap
your
crops and the
argument-
cheap
There you
labor.
go.
You're going to
argument
lecture
was-
me on
your argument,
segregationism?
your
There
argument
you
is
go.
legitimately. Your
Oh,
argument
who's going to grow
legitimately.
the corn?
Steven, if you're going to
Sarah like that.
lecture me on
your argument,
segregationism?
your argument is legitimately. Your
Oh,
argument
who's going to grow
legitimately.
the corn?
Steven, if you're going to be Steven, now who's interrupting? Your argument legitimately is there's a house that has 4 or 5 trucks in front of it, and they don't hang out with us, and Americans don't want that. So let's get rid of them. I
they
like.
really
How am
don't.
I supposed to take that any other way than racist?
I don't know. How about engage with the reality and the practical issues that people might have with that? Try that. Try it. Just try it.
What's a better? How's a different way I can take that?
A violation of zoning laws, for one.
Shout out to the zoning laws. All right, equality is here. Anybody who doesn't want to hear it, mute me for the next 5 seconds. Shout out to equality and deference because vagina over on Rumble said liked and shared. Liked and shared. Look at that, guys. Both are free and easy. And guys, it doesn't even matter if you think anybody's going to click on the link. Just by you telling YouTube, Rumble, whatever, that you want more people to see this stream, they will show it to more people, whether anybody clicks on your link or not. Thank you so very, very much. Said, how was your libertarian Christmas? I like that. It was pretty good. You know, the positive side of Morty starting to lose his hearing is that he's not as scared of the fireworks anymore. Notice, you know, if you've been here since last year, this chair was empty all summer. As soon as it would get dark, he would think there's either going to be fireworks or there's going to be a thunderstorm, and he would be hiding. So he's either gotten to the point where it's like, dude, I don't fucking care, or he's losing his hearing. Either way, we get more Morty on screen. Yay! All right, welcome to the party, guys. Let's dive back in here.
How's a different way I can take that?
A violation of zoning laws, for one.
It's
No, it's like
That's what we're worried about is fucking zoning laws.
It is what we're fucking worried about.
Why are we worried about zoning laws?
Because the zoning laws, particularly like in this area in Northern Virginia, and you'll probably find this in different places in Arizona and Texas, depending on whether or not the city council there is Democratic or Republican, will opt to not enforce the zoning laws for things like overcrowding and then the purchasing of residential family units and single family homes to be used as hybrid workspaces for, again, contractors. And a lot of the city council people in cities that do this, that basically throw their zoning codes out the window, they are doing it because these are Latino voters who they are counting on them to reelect them in the next cycle. No, it's
Yep. Immigrants, as we discussed before, typically are not in favor of illegal immigration. Imagine that.
not this. Look,
This is embarrassing.
No, no.
Imagine. I'm just
No, Jay,
imagining like
you-
today.
Shout out to Mike over here coming with the fire. It's like, hey, were you pissed off about asylum during Clinton or Obama? Probably not, but they also said we're going to shut down the border. And it's just about playing teams and winning a game.
next cycle. No,
I didn't read this one. This Mo just wants as many in as it takes for him to get social approval. He doesn't give a fuck about not his, working class of this country. Fuck him, and Sarah's a Vulcan.
it's not. This
This is embarrassing.
No, no.
Imagine. I'm just
No, Jay,
imagining like today's the
wanna
5th of
have-
July.
You
Imagine
wanna have
telling
these,
our
like,
founding
tired
fathers.
MSNBC
Imagine telling
conversations.
our founding fathers that 250 years from now, what we'd be arguing about is overcrowding in a house and fucking zoning laws, and that we were choosing.
They'd be like, awesome. So we figured out all the big shit for you guys, and you just had to follow it for 250 years, a few amendments here and there, but I think they would be amazed. Or maybe not even amazed, but very happy. I think they'd be very happy that because hey, buddy, we can have bigger issues to deal with. If you think this is bad, it can get much, much worse.
What we'd be arguing about is overcrowding in a house and fucking zoning laws, and that we were choosing to get rid of people out of this country who, they have 5 work trucks, so all 5 of those people are working. Imagine telling our founding fathers that this working family needs to be removed because there's too many of them in one house, and that makes me feel icky.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This
I'm not sure. I think that counts as a projection, but we'll save it. But it's like, you feel icky at the fact that brown people are being more targeted than white people because of, geography. And that makes you feel icky. No. Projection. You are the one that has all this time been tugging on the heartstrings.
Because there's too many of them in one house, and that makes me feel icky.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This is honestly, like, it's pathetic. We want to run people out of this country.
That's a scam too? Come on.
Country because we don't like that there's too many cars on the side of our neighborhoods and that too many people live in one house?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, that's the most.
I love how he's standing on business here because it is very easy to retract and be like, well, no, that's what I'm saying. But I'm saying, like, there's bigger issues and it leads to this and that. But no, yeah, that's what the fuck I said. If you would like to understand, we can go further into it, or you can just laugh like a 12-year-old. I like this guy.
And that too many people live in one house?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, that's the most elitist shit I've ever heard.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's your viewpoint. That's your viewpoint. Especially for everybody out there that doesn't live in a nice neighborhood, for everybody out there, no matter what you look like, that has to rent a room because you can't afford a place of your own, for everybody out there that's had to move back in with their parents, for everybody out there who's had to move their parents back in with them, for everybody out there who's ever housed a friend who didn't have a place to live, or
What are we talking about? What? How did we get here? What did I miss?
Room because you can't afford a place of your own, for everybody out there that's had to move back in with their parents, for everybody out there who's had to move their parents back in with them, for everybody out there who's ever housed a friend who didn't have a place to live, or the
streamer has awakened.
Just know that if Steven was in your neighborhood, Steven would be going directly to the HOA and be like, these guys are making my street look bad, and I don't like that. It's fucking Karen over here.
And it has a lot to do with social trust and cohesion. People move to certain communities in this country expecting a certain thing. They do actually
Why don't you trust them?
They do join things
because they don't conform to what we want. That's why. The same way that you don't like all of MAGA because they don't conform to what you want. It's the same, except we have concrete reasons. Content said, realizing that he's losing the argument, he has to rely on virtue signaling. Oh, the left. It's almost like they're all the same person. NPCs. Yeah, the Gish Gallop. I'm just going to throw out a bunch of things at you so that no matter what you say, I'll be like, well, you didn't address my point. It's absolutely going to do that.
Communities in this country expecting a certain thing. They do actually
Why don't you trust them?
They do join things like HOAs because
why don't you trust these people?
Because there is a social compact in their neighborhoods, and it is actually corrosive to the heart and
why
soul
don't you
of the
trust
country.
these people? What about having 5 work trucks?
Why can't you follow the rules of the Raging Tomato and shut up for 5 seconds?
Steven,
got him.
You've done the same thing. With all due respect, I'm asking you. It's all discussion. I just want to know why you don't trust these people.
Now,
I know you have
both
like
of you were having a lot of fun bantering backstage, and I think we all had a good time.
Quality. It said, just announce massive public executions. Now we can walk that back. All right. That's a bit much. Let's just throw out the, I don't think I can say that, but the people who don't belong here. That's my Rumble translation.
Let's get to the crux of it. Steven, finish your thought and then back to you, Jay.
Yeah, these things matter. You can kind of laugh and hand wave again, things like zoning, things like overcrowding in American communities.
But that actually affects people. And again, going back to the feelings over facts, that's how people vote. Any film said, can we agree that if someone is waving the Mexican flag on top of a cop car in the middle of a riot, a la Mel Gibson in The Patriot, we deport them instantly? Yes. Hold on. I need to find that. I
think you're sort of painting this very strange picture of me living in some fancy DC suburb. I actually live in a really shitty townhome community in Manassas where you're going to step on either a condom or a broken bottle on anytime you walk your dog. But like, that's life here. And one of the things that's most striking to me is that on my right side, we have a Guatemalan family. On my left side, it's Venezuelans, and then one down, Mexicans, and then after that, Chinese, and then a black family. And every single one of these families, the Venezuelans in particular, immigrated here recently. They are new to the country. They all have, like legal status. They all bought their homes, and they are all Trump voters. And it's like, it's one of these weird things where.
So what you're saying is that the people who had to go through a process to earn the right to be here care about earning the right to be here? I would have never thought that. I would have never, ever thought that. Guys, again, if you can hit that like button, I would love you forever. 1 like equals 1 Morty's not going deaf. If you want Morty to go deaf, just don't hit the like button. And if you want him to die, hit dislike.
Their homes, and they are all Trump voters. And it's like, it's one of these weird things where they're like, we got here, and these people who are coming into this neighborhood are insane. They're overcrowding into homes. We don't know these like 20 guys who lived in the townhome next door to our daughters. I remember the Venezuelan woman next door to me. She came over.
Steven, with all due
no,
respect,
I am going to
I don't need
finish.
to hear the
Jay.
stories of
No,
all your neighbors.
you're going to fucking
Can we get
listen
to
to the
debate?
story.
I
You're going to
will
fucking
say,
listen to the story.
let me
because
add in,
this is
it is
important.
fairly anecdotal, right?
No, this is important.
It is
We have
fairly
2
anecdotal.
Well, you already said that we can't bring up Lake and Riley. So if you have another example, it's almost like Lake and Riley isn't a single anecdote for the sake of being an anecdote, but she is an example of a larger problem.
Let me add
this shit.
But land the plane.
I'm going to land the plane. I just remember this Venezuelan woman coming over with her daughter and using her to translate and just going like, we didn't come here to have 20 guys from Guatemala packed into the house next
Unless you're Bonnie Blue
door who we don't know and we don't trust. Like, these things actually matter to people who come here and immigrate to this country as well. And you just want to keep having these MSNBC conversations about immigration bills in Congress. And I'm trying to talk about brass.
Someone, this another new account person said, oh, he lives in the same state as me. Let me guess, Flagstaff. I don't know what the fuck Flagstaff is, but based on the context, that's probably the most liberal area of that state.
About immigration bills in Congress. And I'm trying to talk about brass tax. Brass
this
tax.
Isn't brass tax. Brass tax is the legislation. You want to tell me more stories about your neighbor that we can't even verify, and how for some reason these Venezuelan immigrants are upset about these Guatemalan immigrants that have too many people in the house. We're supposed to talk about is this helping or hurting? This is silly. Like I get
it. I agree. I agree that it is silly based on your bullshit. Hey, Guamtech with the $5 making you holla. So I'm still feeling for that Swan Daddy, right? I mean, like I said, I care more about the people in that story and who they are and what they're doing. But you know, Swan Daddy's all alone. I'm all alone too. I get it. I mean, I didn't have my wife ripped away from me like that. I think that would be quite taxing. But yeah, I am with you. Thank you so very, very much, sir. We are halfway to the Swogo, guys. Halfway. Let's fucking, to use her words, let's land this plane. Thank you so very, very much.
Talk about is this helping or hurting? This is silly. Like I gave you so many numbers in there. It's economically, it's a net positive that we have illegal immigration here. It keeps Medicaid afloat.
You gave me the numbers, so now I should change my principles because the numbers say that the numbers are numbers. It's as somebody who is very, I don't even know what the fucking word is. I care very much about understanding truth, and therefore that science is very important. When people like this obfuscate what science is and how the studies are done and the how numbers matter and all this kind of stuff pisses me the fuck off to a point that I can't really articulate it properly. Like, science is all we fucking have to understand this universe, and you're gonna fucking bullshit with it and come up with ways that you can chop off kids' dicks That's what you're doing with this?
Economically, it's a net positive that we have illegal immigration here.
Actually, it's not positive.
It keeps Medicaid afloat. It keeps Medicare afloat. It keeps Social Security afloat. And getting rid of all these
Social Security. Oh, don't you guys just wait. Even you Gen Xers are never getting Social Security.
people will be a net loss to our economy. And you want to tell me more about your neighbor's feelings. The problem with America is we're too driven by feelings. That's what allows somebody from Venezuela to be like, I'm a Trump supporter. That's insane. The reason
Is it
that people are here from Venezuela is because Donald Trump staged a coup in Venezuela to try and overthrow their president. And when that didn't work out, and he decided, like, we're not going to buy your oil anymore. And that was 80% of their economy. 80% of their economy is oil. And we buy 50% of that. We crashed their economy overnight. And it was so bad that on Trump's way out the door, he wrote a special executive order saying, due to our actions in Venezuela, these Venezuelan citizens
Are we going to land the plane about a
Venezuelan
Venezuelan coup attempt?
the time that you spoke. And by the way, it's real policy. So to tell me, like, these Venezuelan immigrants who are only here because Donald Trump fucked up their country is a good argument. I think that everybody that's here, that is here illegally, that's working, should be granted amnesty. And I gave you numbers and figures to back that up. And you're telling
You did not give any numbers to back up what amnesty would do to anything. What you gave numbers for was the current state of affairs. So yeah, you got lots of numbers, but now you're bringing in a new thing that amnesty would be the best thing to do. And you have, first of all, the other guy already said, in a perfect world, I would be with that. But he also gave you numbers for stuff that's already happening and said, I gave you the numbers for what's going to happen. That's not how it works. It's not how it works. Said, I bought a 3-on-1 property in San Diego. Under the studio were 10 mattresses for the illegal immigrants. They couldn't stay there anymore. All those men crashed out under the house, 3 inches of headspace like a submarine. I mean, hey, we definitely don't say that they don't have, they got moxie. They surely got moxie. They just can't stay here. Anyone said, yeah, it keeps Medicaid afloat. Illegals keep Medicaid afloat. What? I don't know. Anyone said, oh yes, in 2015, Venezuela was the gem of South America. Quality said the numbers matter, but any slowed down bundle of sticks can cite statistics tendentiously. I'm gonna assume that means wrong, but I've never heard that word before. Tendentiously. That's a good one. But yep, any idiot can read numbers and come to the wrong conclusion. Put a 1 in the chat. Oh, this is a worthy side quest. If you guys have not seen this, you may or may not be familiar with a Christian. I don't know exactly what it is, but he's like a Christian YouTuber. I think he's like leads some. I don't know. It's and he was making the argument that because of the fact that 90% of all men who fight for their kids in a custody battle win, that men are deadbeats and they shouldn't. They should fight harder. That's not true. Put a 1 in the chat if we've seen this clip before. I've showed it before, but put a 1 in the chat if you have not seen it before, because it is a worthy side quest on the notion of just because there's numbers doesn't mean that's the entire story. Shout out to Waco Mind. Welcome to the party. Said Trump's mass deportations are a net negative. Oh, all right. Why do you say that? Buck said, I tried to get Section 8 once. It took 15 months till I got a letter back. I was well housed at that point. Waste of time. I also tried to get food stamps. They gave me $60 a month and needed 40 something searching. You haven't seen your voice in 9 years. God damn, bro. I don't know what else to say, but dilly to you, man. Keep up the fight. God damn it. All right. So Matthew's giving us a 1. He said he saw some of it, but it is a worthy. Actually, you know what? I'm not even going to play this while I look for it. It is so worth our time. It is so worth our time because it specifically shows that KD, the come on, baby. I forget exactly what the thing was, but I'm pretty sure it was here. But yeah, just about there we go. Boom. So yeah, let's just watch it.
Like, where's
So it's gonna we'll let it run for a minute.
And this is something that's very counterintuitive. Guys, most divorce attorneys will tell men not to fight for their children.
Why?
Oh, lead. We are at 1.3, and he still sounds like he's talking normal.
Because most men, if they fight for their children, will not get their children. This is very complex, guys. So let me tell you something about a divorce case. Divorce cases most divorce cases are fairly cheap, relatively speaking. I mean, it's not these Dr. Dre types of divorces, right?
Sure.
Most divorces you can get resolved for under 15 grand. You can. There's one type of case that you can never get resolved for 15 grand. It is the most expensive type of case that a regular person is going to have. And that type of case is a custody battle.
Mm-hmm.
And when you talk about custody battles, those things can get easily 35, 50, 75, 115. Now, imagine you're a man and you've got four credit cards and you come to me and you say, Lee, listen, I make $60,000 a year, but I want to fight for my 2 kids.
Okay.
And you're going to tell me the facts of your case and you got a little something. You got some arguments. But
it's the same reason why the feds have such a high conviction rate.
It's going to be a real battle because the judges are biased against men. And so we're going to have to put up a ton of evidence. What are we going to have to put up? Well, we got to do discovery. That's going to cost you 5, 10, 15,000. We got to take her deposition. But then
everybody put box in the chat. Men are out here fighting. Men are out here fighting. And don't nobody know about it. Because you know what? Most people just don't fucking care. There's a reason. There's a reason why you don't hear women saying, responding to, how are you doing? With, well, I could complain, but nobody would care. Because they would.
That's going to cost you 5, 10, 15,000. We got to take her deposition. But then we also need to get.
Any film said, fought for my son, got quality, got custody and child support. I got to refill, but I'll definitely, dilly to that. I mean, I don't want to know how crazy your ex-wife was, but good for you, sir. Good for you.
5, 10, 15,000. We got to take her deposition. But then we also need to get the kids some counseling. And we need to get some experts on the case. We need to get the psychiatrist. We need to get the kids evaluated. We need all their reports. We need for these experts to show up to court. And so you can make $60,000 a year and I can run up your bill to 80 grand, which you cannot afford. So I have to tell you.
Just to start, 25K. And again, if you don't have that slam dunk case, then that money is going down the drain.
Run up your bill to 80 grand, which you cannot afford. So I have to tell you, I have to say, listen, you got a little something. But if I had to say whether you're going to win or lose, I don't think it's 50%. There are attorneys who will tell you, listen, pay me the 80,000, just put it all on all your credit cards. And I'm really.
Notice the laugh. When he laughs, you know he's talking for real. He's not trying to pull at your heartstrings. He's just spitting facts.
Pay me the 80,000, just put it all on all your credit cards. And I'm really going to try and we're probably going to win. And what happens when you lose? They're going to look at you and say, well, we tried. We gave it the college try. Then they're going to take their 80 grand, the 80 grand you paid them, and they're going to fix their house and put their kids through a couple of semesters of college. Good attorneys don't do that. Good attorneys.
Okay, it's not here. He's getting more serious, but wait for it. Wait till when the lead attorney here laughs at what he's at him, his own words.
He's do the opposite. Good attorneys say, listen, what's going to happen when I start charging this 80 grand? You get up to 30 grand and you're going to come to me and tell me, and say, Lee, I ain't got no money. What am I going to do? You know what I'm going to do, Ruslan? I'm going to drop you as a fucking client because I don't work for free. So now I've got your 30 grand, but your trial isn't going to come for a year and a half. That means you got to get up another 30 grand. You got to get on another attorney's plan to pay for the case. So we attorneys tell you, listen, do not fight for custody if you cannot afford to do it. And a custody case is it's one of the most expensive cases that a man will ever have, and a normal man, not some NBA player or something like that. And so a lot of times it comes down to men, and men have tried. You never hear about the man who spends $75,000
Shout out to Box. Shout out to Box. Quality said winning, but sadly rare. Indeed. When these guys get savaged in the divorce slaughterhouse, they have to pay for the one attorney and her attorney and child support. What the fuck is the guy going to fight with? Well, 90%. So it's 90%. Therefore, if you're a man, you have a 90% chance of winning. That's what the numbers say.
Try. You never hear about the man who spends $75,000 and then they lose, because what happens when they lose the $75,000? Now I've got their $75,000, and now guess what? They have to turn around and pay child support. Yeah.
That chuckle pierced my soul, and I don't have a wife and kids. I'm just me and Morty. Listen to it again. Am I just talking shit here, or is that a signal that, like, yo, it really be like that?
And now guess what? They have to turn around and pay child support. Yeah, you got to turn around and pay. Yeah, with what money? Right? Because I've already cleaned out their life savings. So good attorneys, we say, listen, instead of doing this whole $75,000 thing, what I can do is try to fight to get the most visitation that I can. And most fathers are like, okay, because I can't afford to enter into an unfair trial, lose, and then turn around and pay child support money with money that I just don't have. Now, what's interesting? The interesting thing you say is the more the man gets closer to court, the more the man has opportunities to win. Why is that? Do you know why that is? Because
wait, come on, I'm not skipping you. I'm just gonna go through this and then I'll come back.
The man has opportunities to win. Why is that? Do you know why that is? Because if I'm representing a husband, there are cases where I'm like, no, fuck this lady. We're going to get these kids. She's neglecting them. She's not taking care of them. She's doing this. She's touching them. She's not doing the things that she's supposed to do. We have a good case. We're like, oh, I don't know. No, let's go to court. The cases that go to court are the strongest cases. Right. You're thinking that the cases that go to court are equally strong as the cases that don't. And that's where you're missing.
Information that is not read by the numbers. It is not in the numbers. And there is no study that you could do about the rates of winning that would tell you any of this. This is the reason I keep bringing up this video. And let me get the link. What was? Why do you put a thing there if you're just gonna make me do it anyway? But yeah, keep this and save this. Save this. The next time somebody is talking shit about, well, I just gave you numbers and blah 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 blah. Show them this. Show them this. So yeah, I'm gonna save what you're saying until we get back to that. I said repeal the 19th will never happen because the attorneys get a big chunk. Bingo. Yikes. That's facts. That's facts. Box said marriage is just for the rights to kids as a dude, and is it worth it? I don't think so. I don't think so. I said, bless you for pointing out this important information. Well, I will pass that blessing along to the lead attorney for doing exactly that.
Go to court are equally strong as the cases that don't, and that's where you're missing. The cases that actually get to the trial, those are the cases that the men have the best chances of winning. So you're looking at the cream of the crop and assuming that the cream of the crop is reflective of the base of the pyramid. It's reflective of all the other cases. Now, you wouldn't know that, right? Because you're just looking at the numbers. The numbers don't tell you which are the strongest cases and which are the weakest cases.
Right. Well, assuming that the strongest cases,
like already right there, what do you need to hear to be like, no, okay, I was wrong? He's still trying to argue it. He's still trying to argue it to a 20-year divorce attorney. What are you doing?
Which are the weakest cases?
Right. Well, assuming that the strongest cases, the men are even acting towards wanting custody, 50-50 custody or full custody.
So this is, again, confirmation bias. Why would you assume that a man, any given man, wouldn't want custody? Why would you assume that?
Acting towards wanting custody, 50-50 custody or full custody. That's assuming that in the bottom 90% or the bottom 99% that never see a judge, that there's men there that want it, but you're saying they're getting legal advice saying they don't want it. My buddies who went through this process didn't have attorneys. They just went through it and fought in the court system on their own behalf. Right.
Well, that even more so. That means that they didn't even need an attorney because their case was so strong.
So we agreed that the vast majority of these cases never even make it before a judge. The ones that do make it before a judge, the man has the higher shot in winning.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
And so you're saying, but you wouldn't give them that sort of advice. And I would say, well, why not? Why not give them that sort of advice? And do they always need an attorney in a situation like this? When, again, and this is me being honest with you, I'm saying I've seen it anecdotally play out where brothers didn't have attorneys. They went in.
Good luck with that.
But you know what I'm saying? I've seen it anecdotally play out where brothers didn't have attorneys. They went in, they got their kids. They went in, they had an argument. They said, hey, I am the primary care provider. This is how I take care of my kids. The kids want to stay with me. And they got their kids. Right. And so I understand what you're saying. I understand that you're saying, hey, the odds are in our favor, this and this and this. But I'm saying empirically speaking, the numbers don't look like that. And then if we can escalate it to that point of, hey,
I would argue that's why it's not worth it.
I'm going to go fight for my kids. It doesn't sound like it's not in the man's favor. You're saying it's a financial thing. I'm saying, is that the only way to fight for your kids? Is you have to pay 100 bands and wipe out your life savings?
Yes.
I'm genuinely asking here.
Unless you have such a strong case.
Yeah, let me just tell you as an attorney, my favorite case, my favorite type of case in divorce cases is when I represent the woman and the man represents himself. Oh my God. Your best case, your anecdotal cases, that's my favorite case. And it's not only my favorite case, it's all attorneys' favorite case.
Because
for a dog trainer, the equivalent to that would be, you know, if I come to your house and meet your dog for the first time, and it's a little floofy dog that has nice manners and is very food driven and already wants to please you. She's like, oh, this is going to be great. This is going to be great. Versus, you know, really dog of any size, but a dog that's not, you know, going with the program, the bigger, the worse it is. But this big dog that's got all this energy that the owners don't. There's different shit, and a woman with a woman with an attorney versus a man without one. If you're that woman's attorney, you are loving it. Shout out to Josie. Said marriage is 100,000% a scam. Agreed. I absolutely want to find somebody who, you know, I can spend my life with. I don't necessarily know. I'm not saying yes or no, but I don't necessarily know if I would feel the obligation is the right word. I don't know, but I don't know if I would want to get married. I would actually have to see the numbers on like taxes and stuff, but that's literally the only reason I would do it. It's a scam.
It has the means to pay for you as an attorney, and the man doesn't have the means to pay for you or pay a similar lawyer as you.
I'm going unopposed. I'm going to crush you. I'm going to crush you. There's no way you can't deal with AV who's in law school. Like a regular person can't go up against a law school student. And I've graduated law school, passed the bar, and been practicing for 20 years.
So we're talking about the 1.5% of cases where the woman has the means to hire someone like you, spend 70 bands to escalate it, to get it before a judge, to keep the kids.
Well, he's spending the 70 bands. She ain't spending shit.
From the husband.
No, we're not talking about that. I'm talking about cases where the father opts to not hire an attorney.
Which is on the father.
Correct.
Right. No, I'm sorry. You're talking about cases where I thought we backed up. I thought we were talking about cases where the father.
Thank you again, Josie, sponsor of the stream.
Opts out of fighting for the kids at all and just gets what he can get. Like that to me is an L. You know, this like if you want to be in your kid's life, you have to actively pursue being in your kid's life.
This is so wrong. This is so wrong. I'm so glad you're saying this. This is.
But the numbers are there. The numbers, guys. The numbers. Guys, remember with Josie's super chat here, we are now 13 out of 15. 99 cents counts, guys. 99 cents counts, and every $2 is a push-up I gotta do for you.
So long. You have no idea how many men's lives have been destroyed financially trying to fight for something that you're not going to get.
Yeah, again, I'm just saying all I could go off of is the data that I'm finding, and the data that I'm finding.
You're misinterpreting the data. That's what I'm telling you.
According to the data, men have a better shot if they escalate it. So I don't know how.
I'm telling you why.
You're saying
you're saying that you're reading the data, but you don't know the why. It's like, guys, you can read that 2 + 2 = 4, but you might not understand it. You might need someone to explain it to you. You're saying 2 + 2 =
well, 2 + 2 = 5 to some of the liberals, but that's a whole other story.
4, but you might not understand why. You're reading the statistics, Ruslan, but I'm telling you why. Why is it that the majority of men do not go to court for these kids? It's because they're not going to get them. You know, it would be
or can I propose?
Real shit, man. I'm sorry about that, but it is real shit that people need to see. Not only the content itself about marriage and divorce, but this whole concept of, well, I have the numbers. The study says. Too important.
They're not going to get them. You know, it would be.
Or can I propose an alternative hypothesis?
Yeah.
Or is it that the men don't want their kids? Or is it the men aren't the primary care provider? Or is it the men don't have the emotional capacity to?
How fucking dare you?
How dare you?
Yeah, just men are just, you know, shitty people. Because, I mean, is there any other way? Is there any other way to say someone doesn't want to be with their kids that doesn't translate to you're a piece of shit? I don't think so. I don't think so. Hey, there's a one tag with another dollar. No question, no comment, just pure love of the Overlord. Guys, that counts. One more, and we've hit the goal. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. It's a night for push-ups. And if said, Josie, I can fix you. Wait, you're a chick, right? And that's what I've assumed this whole time. That's what I've assumed this whole time. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Let's see. Josie had 2, 4, 6, 8. We've got an 8, 10. We've got co-sponsors of the stream. Thank you so very, very much, guys. Oh my goodness. And Waco Miner, do not forget about your shit as soon as there's about a minute and a half left of this. And then we're diving back into the debate, and we will address all that. Guys, thank you. Thank you. Thank you so very, very much. The goal has been met.
Or is it the men aren't the primary care provider? Or is it the men don't have the emotional capacity to fight for their kids? Or is it because the men have moved on and maybe the man practiced hypergamy, found a younger, hotter wife, and they're ready to start a new family? Why are we not going to acknowledge that those scenarios happen? I see those happen a lot. I see a lot of single mothers around here that would love for the father to be in the picture, but the dad's checked out. The dad's moved on. Like, where's the responsibility on the men on this situation? I understand that the court system's not fair. You're way more astute to that. That's your line of work, your expertise. I'll defer to you. But I'm saying we can't.
He just explained it to you. He just explained what part didn't you get?
Can't say that all men always want their kids and always get a bad shot from the court system. It's hard for me to wrap my brain around that. Personally, anecdotally speaking, knowing multiple single dads, and also from the data that I'm seeing.
Yeah, you're misinterpreting the data, and I think we haven't really talked about this, but it's true. There are men who do not like their kids. There are men who don't want to spend time with their kids. There are men who don't want to pay for their kids. There are men who don't want to see their kids. I represented all these men.
Can you give me a percentage if you're talking generally?
All right, guys. There we go. We've got our co-sponsors, Josie and Indie Film. Thank you so very much. We are at $32 right now. Remember, every $2 is a push-up, and I need them. Thank you guys so very, very much.
Yeah.
Can you give me a percentage if you're talking generally speaking from your experience?
Let me finish for a second, because this is very important. Because you want to talk about, all these men not doing stuff. But it's interesting that you don't talk about the other side. Maybe you don't know. Let me finish.
I just let that on the front end. That my buddies took full custody of their kids.
And what did you say? You said that the women, they didn't use drugs or anything like that. So you're not talking about it.
That doesn't mean they were the most competent mothers either.
If you could let me finish, maybe you could hear. You're talking about these 2 gentlemen that won custody of their kids with no attorneys, and the mother weren't on drugs or anything. That's what you said. Let me tell you something about the other side, which you don't want to talk about. There are some shitty moms, and I know that because I've represented them.
Of course,
there are moms that have physically abused their kids. There are moms that abandoned their kids. There are moms that.
Well, hold on, Josie, because he's a Christian creator. Are you sure? You want to go with the not as Christian black attorney? I don't know. How dare you?
There are moms that have physically abused their kids. There are moms that abandon their kids. There are moms that neglect their kids. Yes. And so if you have shitty fathers, then guess what you also have? Since fathers are humans, guess what mothers are? Mothers are humans too. So you have shitty moms. So if you have shitty moms and you have shitty fathers, why is it that 90% of the women have primary custody when the moms are shitty too?
That don't make no sense. Quality said, so everything Mr. Clean just said bounced off Jimmy Neutron's head. I don't think we can call him Jimmy Neutron. He's not smart enough. Not smart enough at all. Oh, all right, there you go. Hey, we found another scam. Agree with you there. You know that. Equality goes on to say, what a trash-ass muncher this punk is. No. All Wamsons are magic angels. Yeah.
Have primary custody when the moms are shitty too. This is what you need to analyze when you're looking at your numbers. Guys, if you don't really practice in the space, you just look at the numbers, you have no idea what you're looking at.
If you don't practice this, you just look at the numbers and you have no idea what you're talking about. Again, that link, you know what? Fuck it. I'll put it again in the chat. I think it is that important. I think that actually get to this point, but whatever. Point being, just because you have the numbers doesn't mean you have all the knowledge. It just means you have the numbers. Now, maybe those numbers tell enough of the story. Maybe they don't. Just that simple. So let's go back to Waco Mind was talking about some of this stuff and said that the deportations were a net negative. Waco Mind said divide and conquer propaganda around the immigration topic shows how low the bar is for America's greatness. I don't like that. That's a good point. I don't like that. That is indeed a good point. Waco Mind said the immigrants largely pay taxes and are law-abiding, proportionally statistically. They are better at being citizens than the inborn U.S. citizens. The government is currently trying to make money with the prison system. Only problem is there's not much money in the world. Lots of debt, little actual money. I definitely agree with that part. But, I mean, when it comes to the immigrants largely paying taxes and law-abiding, that's sidestepping the issue. Even a good person takes up resources. We don't have those resources. What were you just saying? There's not all this money. There's all this debt. And so that increases the more people you shove into the same spot on the same teat, if you will. Yeah, this is 16% of the. Oh, wait. Box said, I'm pro-blacks. People say that say the 13%, but they are bad at math. Black men are like 16%, and the age range makes it more like 9%. Well, that's because they define child up to 19, and that fucks everything up. So 16% of the 13%. I mean, you got the numbers, so I mean that must be it, right? Adam said, my best advice for men getting divorced is to act like you don't care about having the kids. Women will almost throw them at you. Reverse psychology. I love it. I love it. I was going to do you first, but since you're being like that, I'm going to wait. Ty said, coitus was never a reason for me to get knocked up. There's such a thing as sexual responsibility. And, yeah, I mean, I've had, I think, like, I've had a handful of, like, scares where it was like, I'm not sure, but it was one or two where it's like, oh, fuck. And those were not responsible moments in my life. For me or for her. Shout out to Maverick, meaning Frank, and sign my petition to deport atheists, please. No, thank you. I like America a lot more than that fuck. Quality said, these are lies, damn lies and statistics. Mark Twain. Indeed. Shout out to Mark Twain. What was his real name? I used to know that. Anyway, all right, diving back in here, guys. Welcome to the party, Maverick. Let's do this.
That's working should be granted amnesty.
Why you got to do this? Why you got to do this? You know that is not an option. Okay, you choose. As soon as you choose to opt for atheism, then I will opt for theism. Deal?
See, and I gave you numbers and figures to back that up, and you're telling me stories that nobody can verify.
I mean, I'd fuck her, but baby mama, no.
Yeah, and you're telling me I'm MSNBC. You sound like you're on a CNN panel. I'm talking about real legislation. Don't MSNBC me. I'm begging.
Bro, that's the same joke. That's not a different joke. That's the same joke.
You sound like you're on a CNN panel. I'm talking about real legislation. Don't MSNBC me. I'm begging you to talk numbers, and you want to tell me.
I'm mad at Sarah for having a bigger laugh at him copying his joke than originally the joke itself.
More about what your neighbors think.
I guess there's no hug after this one.
I'll still hug him.
I mean,
yep. Matthew says people need to stop bastardizing polls and statistics to fit their narrative. Just do the studies and tests and let the chips fall where they may. But then we might be wrong about some stuff, and that can't happen. We're always right about everything because we're the good guys. It's the bad people that are wrong about things. Don't you know this? Don't you know this by now?
This guy just said that Donald Trump wrecked Venezuela. I just would like everybody in the audience to remember this moment. So
why did he write the executive order then on his way out the door?
What?
No, Venezuela. Who said it? Iniville, right? They were in 2015. Venezuela was the gem of South America. Was it though?
Oh, you don't know about the executive order you wrote on the way out the door that gave TPS to Venezuelans because of our actions in Venezuela?
Oh yeah, no, you're talking about temporary protection.
Yeah, why do you do that?
Mostly because a lot of Venezuelans who come here are going to be anti-socialist, and he wants to put them into the Republican voting base.
Why were they coming here?
Because Venezuela has been a socialist hellhole for a long time, and you
has nothing to do with us not buying their oil anymore.
God damn it! You can't turn that one off. Some of them you can. Okay, so let's redo it. Okay.
Venezuela has been a socialist hellhole for a long time, and you
Has nothing to
actually
do with us not buying their oil anymore.
Fucking pardon? That's what I meant to do.
I mean, we don't have to buy anybody's oil.
I know we don't, but when we stop buying
Then why are you bringing it up?
their oil and it tanks their economy, guess what? They don't have anywhere to go.
Oh no, poor Venezuelan. So that means it's okay to destroy America.
So they show up here.
I do want to try to get off of Venezuela here because
I would like you to answer that question.
This is a bizarre side trail.
Every time we get close to an answer, you run from. I want to know why they're here. Why did so many Venezuelans show up at our border? What happened in their country? If it wasn't what I said, that we staged a coup, by the way, you can look that up. It was legitimately a United States military contractor.
Without that, Venezuela would have been amazing.
They got caught trying to stage the coup. And then the response to that was, we're going to stop buying your oil. And we stopped buying their oil and it tanked their economy. Go look it up.
So we got here because he was talking about a point that didn't matter. And so all he does is pivot to, well, Venezuela and Trump and Orange Man bad.
Maybe they shouldn't nationalize their oil.
Why shouldn't they nationalize their oil? We should force capitalism on them.
God.
They can't even make their own
registered
decisions
Republican
now.
or something.
They can't make their own decisions. We have to tell them, you can't nationalize your oil. And if you do, and you don't let BP come down there.
Straw man. Not what he said. They chose to do a thing, and that thing had consequences. What is the thing that all of you fucking liberals like to say all the time? Freedom of speech isn't freedom of consequence. Freedom to trade your oil is not freedom from consequence.
And sell your oil, then we're going to cut off oil purchases from you and we're going to destroy your economy.
I have a question for you about the GDP issue from your opening statement.
Sure.
Do you actually care about American GDP? Because I watch some of your streams. I do enjoy some of your.
But actually, let's make that a poll. Do you personally care about GDP? Yes or no? Just yes or no. If you read something tomorrow that GDP, what do you feel about that? Ty said, or Adam said, I fear American citizens bending over for socialism more than immigrants. I am with you there. But that is a cultural issue. And the easier or the less people who are not subverting the capitalistic society of America, then the easier it'll be to change people's minds, or rather not change their minds into socialism. Yeah, I said statistics are easily manipulated. Trust no one. Well, you can trust the numbers to describe what the numbers describe. You can absolutely trust that figure, that 90% of men who fight for their children in custody battles get their children. You can trust that. You just can't trust that the conclusion from that being, well, all men should spend the 70 bands to fight for children.
Because I watch some of your streams. I do enjoy some of your tangents and rants. And
did he just say nice pivot? Did he didn't just do that after he pivoted to the GDP thing, right?
Some of your streams. I do enjoy some of your
projection. Oh my God. It is their native tongue. Fox said AOC is washed up. I don't know, bro. She might be your candidate.
GDP, because I watch some of your streams. I do enjoy some of your tangents and rants.
Mike, our super chatter from the Raging Tomato, said, "What's more racist than buying a vote through illegal immigration? So much empathy for non-Americans over Americans that are struggling right now." Bingo. Yup. Hey, Box with the $2 said AOC is a scam. I think we can all agree that AOC is a scam. Even though she is a big booty Latina, she's a scam. Thank you so very, very much. That is another push-up. Thank you, sir. Adam said you should care about GDP. GDP goes down, government's answer is always to raise taxes. Waco Mine said GDP is important because it's associated with a country's wealth and power. Countries compare GDP to see where to invest and how to improve their economics, improving trade and networking. I know, right? It's just it's a meme now. And I don't disagree with you guys, but I would be lying to you. I would be lying to you if you told me the GDP is down over the last month. I was like, oh no! I was like, okay, that's not good, right? That's not a good thing. That's about it. I hear you. I'm not saying it's not important. It's just that's not a thing that most people are sitting at the dinner table talking about. So I call them dinner table issues. Nothing Kate said, I don't really know what it means, but I know it's important. That's the shit. What the fuck is his name? I know it's it has to do with our money and wealth. Gross domestic product. I fucking knew that. Oh, I could have pretended that I didn't look it up. I could have pretended that I didn't look it up. I don't realize I was full screen. All right. Well, there's the transparency from the Indian Jesus. Josie said, if AOC, I like AOC if she was a Republican, I would sleep with her. Like I said, I'll sleep with her right now. Baby mama. No, thank you. Honestly, I don't want to make anyone a baby mama. There's women that I would want to make my wife and therefore mother of my children. But I'm good without a baby mama. I'm good.
And I find it odd to me sometimes when folks come out of the left sort of just charging towards the economic argument about sort of America's capitalistic economy and, oh, whoa, the GDP. And I just kind of don't believe you actually care about that because you don't.
I'm kind of with Ryan Reynolds over here. And yeah, Ty said, I don't mind paying taxes. The option is to not have my freedoms as a U.S. citizen. And I think but that's exactly my point. How many people are fucking paying attention to all this stuff? It doesn't change my day-to-day life. If it becomes something that is a bigger issue, then I'll learn about it in the context that it is. But there's other things that I'm paying attention to. Some more important, some less important, but it is what it is. That's how people work. What did I miss? Oh, yeah, Tyson, I don't mind paying taxes. It's not the paying of the taxes that is the issue. It's the theft and the lack of accountability. I don't mind paying into a system. I would just like to know where that money goes and what I'm getting for it. Yeah, nope. Buck said, go get a job in the oil fields. They're opening back up now in 2026, right? Was it, that was any film, right? He said, we stopped buying Venezuelan oil because we are producing our own drill, baby, drill. Buck said, sex work is work. Is it though? In what way is it work? Just because you don't want to do it? Is that the anything that you do for money that you don't want to do is work? Is that the standard? Anyway, Fox said, oh, sex is work. Okay. Yeah. My bad. I got trigger brained, and I thought it was sex work is work. Okay. All right. Sex is work. Relationships are work. Money and time you never get back. Well, that I can agree with. I'm just waiting to disagree with you tonight, bro. I'm just waiting. On point again. Matthew said, if we were able to tank Venezuela, then Venezuela wasn't a free nation. If you need another country to stay afloat, then you are at the mercy of that country. Not a good place to be. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Wake of Mine said, distractions are distracting. Guess what the immigration issue is? A distraction. Well, the way that they're, the way the optics are coming out is certainly a distraction. The fact that people need to go is not a distraction. So I said, I just accept it's corrupted and go about my business as usual. And yeah, I mean, well, definitely they should have to pay taxes. But I mean, yeah, I forget exactly what it was, but I posted something on X about, people losing the faith in the power of the vote and how that's really, really not good. He said, I get fucked every day and get paid for it. Gross. Jesse said, Latinas baddies can definitely stay in the USA. We'll get the ugly ones out first. How about that?
GDP. And I just kind of don't believe you actually care about that, because you don't view the system as legitimate anyways, but yet you want these
Wait, I don't view the
undocumented
system as
workers.
legitimate. What do you mean by that?
You strike me as someone who does not view the capitalist economy of the United States as legitimate.
We don't have a capitalist. We have a mixed economy. It's a fucking
call it. There we go. Thank you, Trump. Let's go. And hey, if you are a tipped employee, I know you weren't claiming those cash tips anyway, but you were still getting taxed on all the credit cards. I will say, a quick aside, because I was in restaurant work for a while before I got into the dog training, and then dog training slowed down, and then I had to go back and get another restaurant job. And the last place I worked, the last restaurant I worked in, and the restaurant I work in now are relatively similar in terms of we'll just say the money. In terms of the money, like the price of the things on the menu, the vibe in terms of class and that kind of stuff is they're very similar. But it's crazy. The difference in just the checks from what 8 or 9 years ago. If you got a check with $100, you're like, oh, bet that's $20 in my pocket. Now people come in for 2 drinks and an appetizer, and that shit hits $100. And I will say that I think this has actually helped. I'll say servers specifically, because I don't know if it applies to other tipped employees. But if you get $100 bill, your check is $100, right? That's a pretty easy. You're just going to drop $20. But let's say your bill is $110. You're probably still just going to drop a 20 and call it a day. But now, because everything's more expensive and you're more likely to get like $150 to $200 checks, then I've seen that people will round to the next near number. And the higher the number, the bigger they're willing to go. So if we're talking about a $200 check, and they want to give, they're there to give 40, then you're more likely to get 45, 50 versus $100. You get a $100 check. You're expecting $20, but then you might not even get that. And if you do, that's, because it's the easiest thing to just throw out a 20. And no, they were not. What the fuck are you talking about? Yeah, long story short, people are tipping more. It's I like it.
System is legitimate. What do you mean by that?
You strike me as someone who does not view the capitalist economy of the United States as legitimate.
We don't have a capitalist. We have a mixed economy. It's a fucking stupid thing that everybody in this world does, including socialists.
Economy,
the socialists do it and the capitalists do it. You guys always argue about what's better. There's not a single country on earth.
But I have the right answer. The left and the right, the socialists and the capitalists are all wrong, but I have the right answer. If you're ever in a position where you think, everybody else is wrong about this, but I have the right answer, you should be actively trying to prove yourself wrong. I do that. I'm pretty sure everybody is wrong, and I have the answers on how to fix America. And so I come here 3 times a week to show you those ideas and see if any of you can knock it down. Nothing yet.
economy.
The socialists do it and the capitalists do it. You guys always argue about what's better. There's not a single country on earth that has a capitalist economy or a socialist one. They're all fucking mixed.
Do you
I
care
advocate
about
for the
GDP
I
taking a
advocate
hit?
for the best solutions, and you're now just casting aspersions on what you think I believe
Do
rather
you
than
care about
addressing any of
GDP
these
going
arguments,
down?
Stephen.
Yeah, but Box, that's you stealing. Like I do the same thing by not not claiming those tips, but that's stealing. That's against the law. That's tax fraud. You're supposed to pay tax on those tips. You just didn't, and nobody cared. But that doesn't make it, well, okay, then you get a tax return, but that doesn't mean you weren't taxed.
You're now just casting aspersions on what you think I believe
Do
rather
you
than
care about
addressing any of these
GDP going
arguments,
down?
Stephen. I just don't know why you're not
Well, you got to ask.
engaging in any of the arguments.
Oh
You
my
keep going
God.
back to my feelings now.
It's a new argument. Do you care about GDP taking a hit?
Yes.
Why?
Because GDP taking a hit in this case would mean that farmers lose their farms, and that farmland inevitably is going to be bought up by corporations who are going to do factory farming. Where's the capital going to come from when we can't export their goods, when they lose all their money? We're either going to have to bail them out.
I do agree generally with that being an issue if the corporations take over what the illegal immigrants are doing. Shout out to Gridiron Masters in the building. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Said no one wants to take the political blame of turning off the faucet of public spending. No tax on tips means tax somewhere else. And surely, but this is kind of the whole point of what we have been talking in terms of what people care about and feelings over facts. It's like at the end of the day, I have to care more about the money in my pocket than the money in other people's pocket, unless it is directly going to cause the downfall of culture. I have to care more about my own pockets. And so the solution, the response is, okay, great, no tax on tips, but let's also, get rid of taxes on other shit as well. Let's get accountability for that tax, for each tax dollar, so that we don't have all this waste, fraud, and abuse. Welcome to the party.
When we can't export their goods, when they lose all their money, we're either going to have to bail them out, or we're going to have to take
You're wrong, Box. You're wrong. You are supposed to claim any income, period.
Capital from corporations who are going to do corporate farming, which is going to give us less nutritious food that is nutrient lacking and meat filled with hormones. Isn't this the Maha movement?
I thought this was already happening.
It is. Shout out to Maha. What does that have to do with the fact that if you are a housekeeper and you get tipped, that is income that you are supposed to report? I would tell you not to report that and not pay taxes on, what'd you say, $600 a year. I'm with you, but the law says you need to pay taxes on that $600, and then because it was less than $1,000 or whatever whatever it was, then you get the tax return. But that doesn't mean that you're allowed to not claim it. I'm with you on saying it's bullshit and that we shouldn't be doing that and all. That's not all the way down. I'm with you. That doesn't change the law. The law is you pay taxes on your income.
And meat filled with hormones. Isn't this the Maha movement?
I thought this was already happening. One of the things
it is, and I would like to undo that. And so I thought you guys were on board with that.
One of the things that I think my politics have evolved in the past couple of years, and really.
So before we go on to that, I just want to show from this. I know this is a small group here, and maybe I should have waited for the 10, but there's only 10 people here. So, I mean, it's just, we'll call it. Well, okay, let's say one more person said yes. I would also say no, and we write back at a slight majority of us just don't really care. That doesn't mean that we think that it's irrelevant. It just means I don't have an emotional reaction to that in terms of, I don't have an emotional reaction to that in the same way there are things that will affect me directly. It's a different lane. And that's why I think when people say, oh, culture war issue, that's culture war. That's what people care about. If you want people to be involved, if you want people to vote, if you want people to understand, then you have to get them involved on something that they care about. And people just don't care about what the GDP is doing from last week to this week. If we're talking about a 5-year cycle, we're just going, okay, now that's going to directly affect my daily life. It is what it is. Yeah, I mean, hey, I'm right there with you. If they come for you, then, hey, but if not, then you got away with it. Good for you. But you did, in fact, get away with a crime. I said, I'm a criminal, and I claim dick when I work in restaurants. I always do the minimum. So, like, if I don't have any, if nobody pays their bill in cash, then I claim $0 in cash tips. I think it's even without without the tax on the tips. I think over the course of the year, it does actually matter how much you end up paying versus, and how much you get back. So I just don't claim any of them, and that is illegal. Come and get me. Matthew said, if we stop wasting all the money they bring in, we could absolutely cut a shitload of taxes. Max 5% per person should be the limit for federal tax. I like it. Yeah, it's just not. It's not a sexy issue. You can talk about transes and get anybody's ear, but you start talking about GDP and people just don't care. Wicked said, you're statistically represented in the government. That is why you are taxed. People died for that. We honor them by subjugating ourselves in favor of the benefits from the system. Again, I am not. My issue is not paying into the system. My issue is not paying into the system. My issue is the system I'm paying into.
Is that I think my politics have evolved in the past couple of years, and really being a little bit more skeptical about this is just like how much of a house of cards our economy is, all the way down to things like farming and how we get food onto our shelves. And
well, I mean, hey, this would have been right at home when we were talking with the lead attorney. Have you been in court?
I was kind of throwing a stone at you earlier about like, oh, who's going to pick the crops? Because this kind of comes up a lot in the issue of immigration. And it alludes to basically a two-tiered society where we have all these kind of legal, documented workers and citizens who all have things like, well, hopefully some kind of health insurance, and they have some sort of affordability in their lives. And then we have these people who I think Bernie Sanders used to recognize a little bit more clearly, which is the folks coming in,
folks
being paid just incredibly substandard wages, and also allowing agriculture and farmers and producers to produce goods that are artificially cheap for the American economy, and making Americans think that this thing that they have, this system, that they actually are getting prices that are reflective of the goods that they buy.
That is the issue. I am paying into a system and I have no idea whether the money I pay is reflective of the goods and services that I'm buying. That is an issue.
I've grown to really have sort of a spiritual problem with this. I think it is a real rot in the heart of America. And so when you talk to me about GDP taking a hit, and you talk about family farms and even big farms like taking this big hit because they lose their workers, I'm kind of at a point where I think that might be for the higher good of the United States. I really
corporations doing all our farming.
No. So
but that doesn't like, if we can agree that illegal shouldn't be here, and that also that work needs to be done, then we can work together as a class to make sure that doesn't happen.
I would like to
look, if those
Jay, I'd like to try to do a good faith conversation here for a minute.
I know. I'm going to ask you a question. If these farms go under, and you say it's for the greater good, who's going to buy those? Who's going to buy up those farms? Who's going to manufacture farm produce? Who's going to do that?
Oh, like you said, probably corporations.
Okay.
Yeah. No,
and I agree that that's bad, but that doesn't mean we break other laws and do other bad things so that this bad thing doesn't happen. That's the argument you're making. And two wrongs don't make a right. Guys, you've been so generous, so I have not mentioned anything, but we are past the 2.5 hour mark, and we do have push-ups coming up. But if you guys would like to keep the party raging, you know how to do it.
Who's going to do that?
No, like you said, probably corporations.
Okay.
Yeah. No, but
and you think that's better for us?
Well, that's a separate argument. I think one of the
exactly, that is a separate argument. That is a separate argument, because it doesn't follow that if we don't have illegals, then automatically the only option is corporations. Now, again, for the 5th time, I agree that that is a worry. What I don't agree with is that because that's a worry, we ignore this other worry. Now, you said those are great jobs for kids from 15 to 18. You work the fields. The kids need work. They yearn for the mines. I say get rid. Get rid. We are in a different world than when we had child labor. We are in a different world. There is no fucking way. There's no fucking way that anybody on any type of scale is going to get away with abusing children in the terms, in the way that we would see it. Like, them being in the mines, them being in factories and shit like that. You work 10 hours a week under close supervision. Well, look, now we've created even more jobs. Why is that wrong? Get rid of child labor laws and get rid of the minimum wage. You think there aren't poor in America? You want to say the only poor people are going to pick the crops? Fine. You're going to tell me there's no poor people in America? You're telling me there's nobody in America who would take $5 an hour? Now, a big part of that is our welfare system. But you can tell me there's nobody? Nobody? Okay, if that's what you think.
Corporations.
Okay.
Yeah. No, but
and you think that's better for us?
Well, that's a separate argument. I think one of
it's
the
not a separate argument.
No, it is a separate argument. One is the deportations net negative or net positive, and 2 is how should we deal with the deportations that have already happened. Different argument. Tangential, related, but a different argument.
It's another path. It's the problem with the path that we always take. We hurt farmers and we hand it off to the capitalists, the free market capitalists, the vulture capitalists, and then they don't pay anybody a decent wage. Nobody is able to make any sort of generational wealth, and we all become employees to a hand.
I thought generational wealth was evil to you people. I thought you the millionaires and billionaires. Is that not you? Is that not you? Now you want generational wealth? Pick a lane.
A decent wage. Nobody is able to make any sort of generational wealth, and we all become employees to a handful of oligarchs.
You are a master of like the shotgun scatter shot. There's so many arguments that you could pick up on.
Again, we call that Gish Gallop. We should call it the Lib Gallop.
It'd be nice if you would address any of them. Just pick one.
Well, a little thing for you. If you actually shot, one shot at a time, it could be responded to, but you don't do that.
I'll slow down.
Well, you should try to not do that. I do want to stick on this though, because
you smile like, oh, you're too stupid to answer 9 questions at once.
The issue of like the actual value of our goods that are created in this economy, I think it is actually bad for us to continue to go down this path where things are artificially cheap and created on substandard labor in conditions that are just not reflective of, I think, anything that Americans actually want or expect out of their economy. It's not good. It is a rot in the heart of this country.
So we should deport everybody?
Yup.
Well, what we need to do is we need to respond to the will of the voters and deport people
Steven,
who
come on.
don't have.
Link your fucking argument, please. Link it.
What? Link your argument? But the argument is that we had an election. Donald Trump ran on mass deportations. And then people want, what link are you looking for? Source?
Under the will of the voters and deport people
Steven,
who
come on.
don't have.
Link your fucking argument, please. Link it. You can't just I'm not asking you your beliefs on other shit. We're talking about immigration.
No, continue. Debate yourself. Go ahead.
I'm asking you.
This guy's good. This guy's good.
Can you link? That's what I'm asking. So we should deport them? That's the solution?
Yes.
How does that accomplish your goal?
Because they're not here anymore. What? How does if your goal is getting people who don't belong in this country out of the country, how does deporting them out of the country achieve that goal?
What? Stupid.
Well, my goal is to actually try to heal some of the political fabric in this country where people believe that this is a representative democracy.
Talking about cheap goods, Stephen. You were talking about cheap goods.
Well, you asked me about my goal.
Well, that's the issue with shoving 7 arguments down at the same time. As he already said, he can only answer one at a time. You might want to speak out of both sides of your mouth, but he doesn't.
That this is a representative democracy.
Talking about cheap goods, Stephen. You were talking about cheap goods.
Well, you asked me about my
you said we
goal.
want to fix this production of cheap goods. We're talking about immigration. That's what this debate is. I'm wondering how mass deportation would fix the problem that you're just addressing of cheap goods.
Oh, things will get more expensive. In case you're not following, things will get more. Good? Well, it's going to be really freaking painful for this country to understand just how subsidized their goods are by cheap illegal labor.
You know, like with slavery, they made the same argument. The Democrats are still making the same argument to keep people a lower class so that we, the rich ones, can get all the spoils of war. Matthew, you have a good one. Take care, brother. Grinnard said, you won't do a job, therefore no one should do it, is not a sound argument. There are many fields that any one person wouldn't enter, but are necessary, like the military or the police. I would never fucking ever try to be in the military or the police. But a lot of people do. It's almost, I mean, let me think about this for a second before I say it out loud, because it might be a bit of a hot take. But it's almost like people are different from each other.
And I would say unethical labor. And again, this is not an argument that I enjoy.
Then what?
This is not an
Once
argument
everything gets more expensive.
And
then what?
Once everything gets more expensive, then what?
What you're saying? We're going to deport the labor. Everything will get more expensive. People will realize.
So what you're asking is, what happens to the goods after the prices go up? That's the question you should be asking. Then what? Then what? This is more solipsism. I know what I mean, so you must know what I mean. That's not how language works.
What?
What you're saying? We're going to deport the labor. Everything will get more expensive. People will realize that things were too cheap. Then what?
Yeah. So then I think actually once.
Then we learn the value of the shit that we actually have, and moving forward, we don't want to fucking, I mean, what are you looking for here, brother? What are you looking for?
You go through a period of people understanding how things get made in this country. I think you can actually get.
Let's not forget. Sorry, I know I'm pulling a lot, but let's not forget that there are still people who don't realize that the stuff at the grocery store comes from farms. It doesn't just spawn there. They literally don't know that.
You go through a period of people understanding how things get made in this country. I think you can actually get public opinion in this country back to a point where there is more support for immigration. You sort of actually have to do a little bit of knocking one leg out of the stool for people to understand how this country works. Immigration and support for it is.
Oh, honey, sweetie baby. Indeed. It is, but not just the Mexicans. We need to exploit the Mexicans and the Venezuelans and the Haitians, all of them. Because, you know, if we didn't, it would be racism.
Declining year over year over year. We actually, like I said, need to get it back to a point where it goes up. There is no better way to do that in a healthy way and to encourage immigration reform and a legal process than enforcing the law on illegal immigrants, actually reducing the amount of all these different sectors to subsidize their goods with cheap labor, make things more expensive, and bring Americans a little bit back to the reality, which is that immigrant labor is very valuable in this country. We would just like them to have paperwork.
That's it. Bugs is saying, I promise you, Americans can and will pick fruit. Like, isn't it the position of people like this to be like, oh, the corporations are hoarding all the money? So what do you think happens when they can't make money from illegal immigrants? They're just going to be like, oh, man. Well, I guess we just don't make money anymore. Or one company, so all right, hey, we got to bite the bullet. We got to take a tiny bit less on our bottom line so we can actually get people to do this work. Otherwise, we don't have a bottom line. And then that becomes the industry standard. Economics.
So why not give him amnesty?
I mean, we mentioned that in the beginning of this.
He wants that. He already said he wants it. I don't, because we have too many fucking people here and resources are finite. But like I said, is there anything that someone can do that you would pay $1 billion for? I mean, it depends on how much money I have. Because if I have $10 billion, then what I'm willing to spend $1 billion on is a lot different than right now. But right now, no, I don't think I would sign on to $1 billion of debt for anything.
Conversation. I'm generally in favor of a pathway to citizenship. It's common sense to me, but that is not.
We already have a pathway to citizenship. It's called immigration.
People and not do amnesty.
And that's just not what's happening. This motion is about.
I know, I'm asking you why you don't support amnesty rather than this way.
He already said he did. He already said he started out by saying in a perfect world, there would be a road to amnesty or something along those lines. I don't remember the exact quote, but it was pretty damn close.
So I support, in a perfect world where I can wave a magic wand, I would probably do amnesty. And then I would do, some sort of aggressive process of going over everybody's criminal records and any trouble that they've gotten into in the United States once they're in the system, and then they are thus removed. But again, that's not the world that we live in. We're talking about deportations that are happening in the Trump administration, whether or not they're a net good or a net bad. And the deportations, I believe, are a net good, because this country is actually in a democracy crisis. On the level of people actually believing that their vote in this country counts and believing that this system responds to their desires.
Oh, come on. Hold on, wait. Oh.
I told you. What did I tell you? Didn't I tell you? And when did I tell you? A long time ago. And what did I say? What happened when I told you? Exactly what just happened.
Shout out to Ty, who's like, fuck this shit. My vote doesn't mean anything. Is that a problem?
Believing that their vote in this country counts and believing that this system responds to their desires. It's also a hugely corrosive thing to have illegal immigrants being counted in states like California, for example, where they would probably lose at least 2 seats of their 52 seats in Congress if they were not.
How many would they lose in Texas?
I don't know.
2. How many would they lose in Florida?
I don't know.
1.5.
Yeah.
Right. So, adding to his point, I guess.
Why do you only? It's weird how you only bring up California, but I would like to go back to this.
Because it's called an example. And the same reason we brought up Lake and Riley is because it's an example of a thing that's happening that we can all understand. Are we not allowed to talk about California? Why? What's wrong with talking about Is California not part of the United States anymore?
No,
again, what you're saying right now is that
people live.
We're doing mass deportation, that you don't agree with it. You prefer amnesty, but there's a problem.
I do agree with it.
Americans think that there's an immigration problem. So in order to regain Americans' trust, we need to do mass deportations.
Yep, you got it. So you're not stupid. You understand the argument. You just don't like it. And
an alternate solution. How about Republicans stop fucking lying about everything? Everything. How about they stop lying?
Why would you go down this road? Why would you go down this road? It's the I mean, hey, I'm definitely not going to argue with you that Republicans lie. But come on, bro. Come on, bro. Only one party lies. What are you doing? What are you doing? You're grasping at straws.
Republicans stop fucking lying about everything. Everything. How about they stop lying about who was coming to the border? That those weren't illegal immigrants, that those were asylum seekers. How about we stop lying about the fact?
Okay, but we already addressed that, how it's not a lie that the people seeking asylum or claiming that they're seeking asylum are the ones lying. We already addressed that.
Was coming to the border, that those weren't illegal immigrants, that those were asylum seekers.
But they are. They're just, I mean, okay, technically they're not yet illegal aliens. But when their court date comes, if they go, they will not get asylum.
How about we stop lying about the fact that we're only going to go after violent criminals when 70%, 75% of the arrests that happened in LA, non-violent criminals.
in general, I was gonna be with him and be like, yeah, they kind of played it like we're going over the worst of the worst of the worst of the worst, and now we're getting a bunch of edge cases. But you want to pick LA? Why are you picking the worst possible examples? The plane is up there. Shout out to the rehearsal. If you know, you know.
Violent criminals. When 70%, 75% of the arrests that happened in LA, non-violent criminals. 70% of the people that were thrown
non-violent in a riot
in prison in El Salvador have no criminal history outside of being here illegally, and they're
I don't like that. I don't like the El Salvadorian prison thing. I don't love it, but that doesn't mean that we shouldn't be deporting people.
Are getting life sentences in El Salvador. How about that? Why don't you guys just stop fucking lying so that the people in America aren't so goddamn confused? The problem that we have is Donald Trump's a liar, and every Republican is a cuck sitting in the chair with their dick in their hand saying, Donald Trump,
unlike the Democrats. Oh, the Democrats.
Fuck this country harder, please. Keep lying.
Okay, if he said they're doing that, if he said they're doing that, one thing, but if he said they're saying that, that is the biggest projection we may have ever had.
Sitting in the chair with their dick in their hand saying, Donald Trump, fuck this country harder.
You think it's the Republicans that are saying, fuck this country harder, not the Democrats who are openly saying, fuck this country. What are you talking about? Projection. How are you this person? And look at Sarah like, oh my God, oh no, he's about to get wrecked.
Is a cuck sitting in the chair with their dick in their hand saying, Donald Trump, fuck this country harder, please.
I'm going to curse more.
Keep lying and we'll just lie for you. We'll just repeat all your dumbass lies. We'll repeat the lie that they're eating people's pets. We'll repeat the lie.
You saw the video. You saw the video.
That they're only sending their worst. We'll repeat the lie that there were migrant caravans of
You're going to say there wasn't migrant caravan? Oh, my honey, sweetie, baby.
Military-age men coming to our border to invade us. We'll repeat.
Did you not see the videos from, what was it? It was somewhere in Colorado, right? Where the gangs literally took over apartment buildings? I think you're the one lying.
The lie of the replacement theory. We'll just scare you guys into allowing us to deport people rather than tell the truth. When are you guys, you're talking about morality. When are you guys going to start being honest?
That's not important at all, morality.
I think honesty is important. I think that the biggest problem we have in this country is currently that Republicans lie about everything. They lied about the big, beautiful bill. They lie about deportation. In fact, I can't think of a thing Republicans aren't lying about.
All of that. I mean, yeah, that's kind of the game here. And it's cute. It is adorable. In 2025, like in the 90s, before the internet, if you could be, oh no, they're the liars and these are the good guys. I mean, come on, man. Yeah, he's not wrong there, except he's leaving out the fact that the Democrats are worse than Republicans. Was it Denver? I thought it was like Colorado Springs or something. Either way, that happened. But we're lying. And in case, fuck it. In case you didn't see it before. What is
There is outrage over the abduction of one of Mother Nature's most magnificent creatures, a swan. The suspect was caught running down the street with the giant swan tucked under his arm. Then he stuffs the bird into the backseat of the getaway car with his buddies. The four knuckleheads are cracking up as they take off.
It was a little brutal. You can tell they had experience holding these birds.
And again, that is the line there. That this is absolutely real. Now, sure, something could come out and say that didn't happen, but what kind of fake lie is that? Listen to it again.
Definitely, as they take off.
It was a little brutal. You can tell they had experience holding these birds.
If you were going to lie about something, that is something you would not say. Hey, shout out to Gridiron Masters with the $2. That's another push-up. This guy's a real team player. Indeed. Thank you so very, very much. And Lazy Marty very much appreciates it. Thank you. Apparently.
Stephanie Santiago witnessed the swan napping.
One of them was actually looking out the window with a stupid smile on his face. And I told him, I was like, you're going to see me. Remember me, because you're going to see me again. And when you see me, you won't be smiling.
Damn. That's a good freeze frame. But so, what was the lie again? Which lie are you talking about? The swan napping. I don't know, man. It sounds like maybe you are either lying or perhaps you're misinformed.
Big beautiful bill. They lie about deportation. In fact, I can't think of a thing Republicans aren't lying about. They lie about everything. Why don't you guys start there? Stop electing a guy that literally cannot tell the truth. He can't do it. He still can't say he lost in 2020.
Maybe because he didn't.
And Republicans aren't allowed to say it. If they go before Congress and they say, did Trump win in 2020?
Maybe it's because we know you're going to fucking cry about bullshit from 5 years ago.
Look, I'm not going to answer that. Because everybody's so cucked to Donald Trump. That's the problem that we have in this country.
Is it though? Is it really though? Because Donald Trump came out of nowhere, right? Donald Trump got elected based on a reaction to nothing.
We can't have real conversations until one party stops lying about everything.
You hear that, chat? Everybody's cucked and everybody's lying. Everything that you feel, and you look around your communities and you look around the country and feel like it is not the same, that you don't know your neighbors, that people aren't speaking English in places where it would be obvious and common sense.
Don't believe your lying eyes. The liberal here's got the numbers, and you are wrong.
The quality of your public schools is absolutely the same as it was in the 1990s and 80s when you grew up. Nothing has changed. Nothing has changed, and it has nothing at all.
You guys definitely help feed me and Morty, so I gotta help.
Swans are known for being territorial and making loud noises if a human gets too close. But the snatched swan is a species known as a mute swan. These swans are even quieter, so she didn't make a lot of noise when she was taken. To make this,
of course, we're gonna hit the like button, because what kind of fucking asshole watches a video and doesn't hit the like button?
All the more upsetting, the swan had just given birth, and her lifelong mate has been calling out in distress, desperate for his long-lost love.
Oh, poor Swan, Mr. Swan. So, you guys seen it. Shout out get to Gridiron Masters keeping the party raging.
To do with an unprecedented influx of migrants from around the world, and particularly south of the border.
Agreed. So why? So let's talk about public education. I live in Arizona. We are ranked 50th in public education. And you can look at the decline of Arizona education, where we've had immigrants for as long as Arizona's been around. Mm-hmm. When did the decline happen in Arizona? When did we start falling? School choice, Stephen. It bankrupted our schools.
Wait.
Arizona. We are ranked 50th.
Okay, Arizona.
In public education.
Okay, Arizona's the worst in education. Okay.
And you can look at the decline of Arizona education, where we've had immigrants for as long as Arizona's been around. Mm-hmm. When did the decline happen in Arizona? When did we start falling?
Yo, another fucking badass super chat here from Amagon. Illegal drug trade contributes to the GDP growth. Should we ignore those laws as well? Well, you'd probably say yes. But so what he's trying to do now is say, because he knows, he's just using a straw man, that because of the fact that there's other factors that lead to the downfall of the Arizona public school system, and because the what's his name, Steven or whatever the dude has broached the topic of immigration while talking about this, he's boiling it down to, if we get rid of the immigrants, it's going to fix our schools. Stupid. You're just too dumb to be here. Wake up, mine. Thank you for having me. You have a good one.
Education. And you can look at the decline of Arizona education, where we've had immigrants for as long as Arizona's been around. Mm-hmm. When did the decline happen in Arizona?
I disagree with you only in the sense that the land, he changed the landscape so much that he has done so, in the same way. This is a great analogy. Oh my God. So in the same way that a good therapist, if you have a good therapist, their goal should be to get you to stop coming to them. A decent therapist can help you with their problem, help you with your problem, but also just wants to keep you on the line as long as possible. And a bad therapist won't help you and will keep you on the line. So I think Trump is that middle level where every other politician has been the bottom level because Trump is not the top level. And yet, he is not at that top level. And yet, he has still created a circumstance where he is no longer needed. That is a leader.
Did we start falling? School choice, Stephen. It bankrupted our schools. It bankrupted public schools.
Therefore, we shouldn't deport anybody.
Underfunded public schools, and now we're ranked 50th. And who's number 49? Oklahoma, who is also doing school choice. But the easy thing to do, Stephen, is to blame immigrants and be like, look at those people who aren't speaking our same language. They're the problem. It couldn't possibly be that Republicans turn everything into profit, so they don't want public education to be good.
Scattershot again.
They have to have a profit motive for public.
So many things.
You named
so many things.
literally.
Now we're talking about school choice in Arizona. Oh my God.
Talked about 20 things that I chose one, public education. And now I'm explaining how red states suck at education because of this, but you blame it on immigrants because you just let your politicians lie. The immigrants didn't cause the problems in your schools, Stephen. It was Republicans who won't fund the schools, who keep giving
having
billionaires.
a debate with somebody who's not actually here in the room with us. I would like to know, is like Rick
You
Rick Santorum in the room? Like talking.
Sorry, did you bring up schools or not, Stephen?
No, I brought up schools and I brought
did
up
you blame
schools.
immigrants for that?
I know that you're very used to this sort of like Twitch, like, bare knuckle brawling kind of thing. I'm not really interested.
Get him.
I would actually like to
Why
try
don't
to
you answer that question?
I'd like to try to finish.
Did you
the
blame
sentence.
immigrants for it or not?
So what I was saying was that
talk about something else.
I'm just gonna sit back. I've lost interest.
Let's reset the panel. Chat, don't forget we have a good cause going. All
right, so here's what we're gonna do, because this debate goes on a little bit longer before they get to super chats, which do move does move the conversation along. And then they do a little bit of the panel is in this. So the question to you guys is let's say, which would you rather? And we just passed the 3 hour mark, so we're not gonna be here for too much longer either way, but unless of course you guys keep the party raging. Would you rather stay here or skip to super chats? And again, if we stay here, this is going to be digging more into this kind of stuff. She did kind of reset, and they're kind of getting back to the main point. But if we skip ahead, then the super chats from the audience will drive the conversation a little more, and then we may be able to get into the panel a little bit. Annabelle said, "Wait, red states suck." What? Red state suck? Suck? Question? Why don't you look up the worst education cities in the country? They're all run by Democrats. Well, we will indeed do that. So, what are the cities in the U.S. that have the worst public education system? And are they run by Democrats or Republicans? Because that is a fantastic point. It's almost like, oh yeah, I can't hit enter. Fuck. It's almost like the cities drag down the rest of the state. Gridiron said every public school is declined by definition. So my brain starts shedding when I hear someone talk about education. Yeah, I mean it's right there. So let's see. We're gonna get to. I see you guys want to skip to the super chats with 3 votes. So if you have a different opinion, we're gonna read this first. So It said when evaluating the worst public school education, the worst public education systems in the U.S., we typically look at metrics like graduation, standardized tests, teacher-student ratios, spending per student versus outcomes, and chronic absenteeism, and facilities and infrastructure. So we've got Detroit, Michigan, run by Democrats. We've got Baltimore, Maryland, controlled by Democrats. Cleveland, Ohio, the city is Democratic. St. Louis, Missouri, Democratic, even though the state is Republican. Philadelphia, Philadelphia. Philadelphia. Jackson, Mississippi, Democratic mayor, but Republican-controlled state government. Milwaukee, Democratic city. Newark, New Jersey. Let's go. Let's go. Shout out to NJ. Except Democratic city and state. Key patterns. Urban areas dominate the list, and urban centers tend to be run by Democrats. However, state level control often complicates the picture. For example, Mississippi and Missouri have Republican state governments, which influence education and policy funding. Some cities, like Detroit and Baltimore, are in blue states and blue cities, yet still suffer from the systemic education failures. What do you mean still? What do you mean still, ChatGPT? I'm actually going to do that. What? Still, what was it? I think this is the longest I've had dead air on this show ever. I just want to see. When I say these cities, quote, still suffer from systemic education failures, I'm referring to long-standing, deep-rooted problems. Here's what I'm specifically. Blah, 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 blah. But why would you expect that? Jesus Christ. State would be better. That's what's implied when you say still. And you can't hit enter. Hey, shout out to Amanda with another $2. Thank you. Shout out to Bubbles. Very, very much appreciated to the both of you. Thank you. And that is another push-up. What kind of for? You're an honorary American. We'll count your money as honorary American money. Thank you so very, very much. As a sharp point, you're absolutely right to question the assumption behind still. Let's unpack it. What still implies and why it's contested. When I say a city like Detroit or Baltimore, quote, still suffers under Democratic leadership, the implication is that long-term Democratic control, both local and often state level, should ideologically and politically align with public education advocacy because Democrats campaign heavily on improving public education. They often oppose school choice and emphasize investing in public schools. They receive strong support from teachers' unions and education lobbyists. Oh, the money. Yet again, the money. Not wrong challenges. We flip the logic. Maybe the very policies Democrats favor, strong union protections, blah, 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 are part of what keeps the system failing. Then it's not surprising at all that these systems are broken. It's not a bug. It's a feature of the system they've built. In that sense, you are absolutely right. I always am, except when I'm not. But then I still just say that, Moving on, and thank you to Amanda. The party rages on.
Let's reset the panel. Chat.
So the poll said we'd like to skip to the super chat. So let's see. I think we're going here. I don't know exactly where.
Believe that this is a statement of the
This is why people like what statement camp. Turn us out. You want to answer
the only people the Japanese legally say like on a black one.
U.S. citizens have been held in ICE detention.
Hold on.
Estimates that deporting 13.3 million undocumented immigrants in a single large-scale operation.
Channel is officially
Okay.
open backstage. Please
All
feel
right.
free to hop back there while we go through the super chats. For the chats, I'm gonna go ahead and only read 10 and up for now, just for purposes of time. But I will get.
See, guys, $2, $2 fucking Canadian dollars counts for me. 99 cents counts as a super chat for me. She just started this channel like earlier this year, and she's at $10 and up. So, just saying. Yeah, Amanda's an honorary Kentuckian. There you go. Shout out to Kentucky.
Through the $5 super chats a little later throughout open panel. So bear with me. I will read them. We will have some fun with them. Gentlemen, if you want to respond to the super chat, you're more than welcome to. I like it short and sweet, concise, and to the point for anyone who would like to, if either of you would like to respond to them. Otherwise, if nobody talks, I will just move on. A Tard Wrangler with a big 20 says, why should we not strongly encourage motherhood? Importing people
We should.
from nations that are also declining in population is only delaying the inevitable. We need to strengthen the family unit, even if it seems, I'll say it for me. I can never say these words.
Even if it seems tyrannical. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, I agree in spirit. I love the idea. It speaks to me, but there's just no way to do this. You can't make people procreate, have more babies. I don't even believe in this whole idea about tax credits for people having more kids. I just don't believe that family planning decisions happen on the basis of the tax code. I think that family planning might occur much more on the basis of livability. I think student debt is a huge driver actually of why people delay having families, because there's just sort of this myth out there in family formation that you have to be financially well off before you start a family. I think that is actually completely untrue, but you're not going to be.
And you definitely don't want to be broke as fuck, but the notion that you've got to be set up, I think is holding this country back.
Able to fix that at the governmental level. That's going to have to happen down at the bottom of society. And I think that's just not something that's going to work, but I'm with you in spirit.
Yep. Anything from you, RTP?
Yeah, look, I think we should stop attacking women's bodily autonomy. Maybe we shouldn't have.
You mean like not letting them compete against other women in sports?
Have questions like it happened in Florida last week, where we have a sitting member of Congress who couldn't get an abortion, almost lost her life because of.
We have a sitting member of the Supreme Court who couldn't define a woman. What are we doing?
Fusion with abortion policy. Maybe we should do something about wealth inequality. Maybe we should do something about maternity leave. Maybe we should do something about paid leave. Maybe we should do something about.
He thinks he's looking good right now.
Wages. Maybe we should do something about universal health care. There's a million things we could do to encourage mothers to have more children, but deporting brown people doesn't do a goddamn thing to facilitate that.
It's almost like it's not an either or. It's almost like you can deport people and also encourage motherhood. A crazy idea. But you do more than one thing at a time.
And Tard Wrangler follows up with a correction to say, excuse me, declining birth rates, not populations. Thank you for the clarification. Midnight in Exile with the Big 10 says, this Mo just wants as many in as it takes for him to get social approval. He don't give a fuck about my, not his, working class of this country. F him, and Sarah is a Vulcan.
So now we saw this earlier. And as a show of respect to those of you who do in fact donate, I will stop the show to read because sometimes it's relevant. What happens when you don't do that?
Am I the Mo? Is that me? Am I Mo? The Mo?
I'm not sure what's going on here.
Yeah, I'm not.
They don't know, but everybody knows what indie film means. America! Fuck yeah! Hell yeah! Thank you, sir! Very, very, very much appreciated. Oh man, that's 20 push-ups. That's 20 push-ups. We are at 20 goddamn push-ups.
Am I the Mo? Is that me? Am I Mo? The Mo?
I'm not sure what's going on here.
Yeah, I'm not. I kind of had a hard time understanding which way that was going as well. No thoughts. That's okay too.
Send me $10,
Oh,
and
nice.
then we'll figure it out.
That's
I think he's talking about me, and I think it's the same claim
38. That's not 20.
Stephen leveled at me. And it's when you attack what I care about, it means that you don't have an answer for the fact that statistically speaking, there wasn't a single argument I laid out tonight that was even attempted to be argued. And we'll see that in the chat continue. You guys want to talk about my personal feelings? You can attack the data. I don't have personal feelings about this.
I don't have personal feelings about this. I don't care at all about this, actually. It's a ridiculous notion that anybody should care about this. I'm just here for clout.
I want the right thing for this country, and I want to do the right thing according to the numbers, and I don't
according to the numbers. And remember that we saw explicitly how you can have not only just the incorrect answer, but the inverse of the correct answer by just following the numbers.
May I respond to that just real quick?
Absolutely.
Yeah, just one of the things that I think is really important to concede here is that you wanted to have a conversation about data and the numbers and a lot of the concrete consequences of stuff like this. I don't entirely disagree with a lot of that. I think there are going to be really concrete consequences to a lot of the things that you're talking about. There are actual dollars and cents put into the economy, into our country, into our entitlement programs.
And those resources are finite.
By illegal immigrants. I just don't think that we should be in this situation. I think we actually have to find a way to rip this Band-Aid off and figure out what our country is actually made of without a two-tiered society of people living in the shadows. And
Democrats have no fucking problem making you a second-class citizen.
People who live legally. I just don't think it's good for us. So I've kind of gotten to a point where I'm going, we might need to like damn the torpedoes here and figure out what's really going on. And there might be some real hurt from that. So,
but again, you haven't even been able to show me what the problem is outside of that people think.
I just try to talk to you like a normal person over and over and over again, and you don't want to do it. But that's fine. Keep doing it.
No, I'm saying, look, I'm just saying that like you haven't shown me like a problem. It's just that you say that
too many people here, too many people who don't belong here are here. That is the problem. Did you offer a solution? Did you acknowledge that? Oh, you did acknowledge that was a problem, and you said you personally had a problem with it. But now you don't understand why we want to fix that same problem. I think you're confused, homie.
Keep doing it.
No, I'm saying, look, I'm just saying that like you haven't shown me like a problem. It's just that you say that people don't like it, and that seems to be the problem. I don't think.
Yes, correct. People don't like it. That is a problem. If people who live in a free society that get to vote on their society don't like something, then they can vote to change it. I thought you were all about my democracy.
I think that's a big problem in a free country of free people who are supposed to govern themselves, and where you call it a democracy. I think that actually does matter a whole lot.
Yes, I did, run through this, but I did not remember that.
I wonder if maybe the likability, Stephen, might come down to other factors, and maybe you can peel through that throughout because I feel like that's probably going to be a big piece of the commentary coming from the panel.
The likability.
Like why the likability factor is important, because I'm sure you could derive from that all of these other issues of why people would actually not like that, right? Aside from tattoos and 25-year-old dudes in a house next door, I think there are, like something you could say, maybe if there's 20 people living in one house, and maybe only one of them is actually a legal citizen paying taxes and they're accounted for and so on and so forth. I would go down the route of what about the other 20 people not paying taxes towards that school system, and because the school system failing was brought up as in context, like maybe you could derive or maybe deep dive a little further into why that likability is a bigger issue based on root-based factors.
So I'm going to take a step back and actually, I don't think this is a criticism. I'm just offering constructive observations here. But I do think that if Sara played a little bit more of a role as a moderator, then these debates would go better. Like once it gets to the panel and everybody's doing whatever, like, yeah, they call, what did she call it? The dumpster fire panel? Like, I get that's what that's there for. But the debate itself, she should be a little bit more involved in focusing what they're talking about. And when they're going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, that's what a moderator's for. Be like, we already established that. He said this. So the question was this. Or, hey, look, you guys have gone back and forth on this. Clearly, we're not going to agree. Let's move on to part B or whatever. Just saying. Because she's watching all the fucking money come in. What you mean? What you mean? Have you seen a moment in this show where there hasn't been a fucking super chat on the bottom of the screen? She counted her money, bro. She counted her money. She's probably also watching the hundreds of thousands. How many views does this get? Thousands of people, at least multiple hundreds of people in the chat.
Why that likability is a bigger issue based on root-based factors. Maybe that's something we can get into on the panel. I think you can find.
We are fuck Republic. We are fuck Republic. We are fuck Republic. Let's fucking go. Fuck Republic. Fuck Republic. We are a fucking constitutional.
Find it. I think it's there. I think we just should root base it. Thunderstorm with the Big Ten says, why don't we pay these people to live in their own homelands? The trillions spent on giving them us. Say it for me.
Homogeneity.
Thank you. Creating safety and prosperity.
Women.
Any thoughts?
No.
Yeah, statistically speaking, people who immigrate here are less likely to commit crimes, specifically violent crimes. So if we want more safety and prosperity, my recommendation is that we bring in more immigrants because they commit crimes at lower rates.
So if you have a child and your child gets into trouble sometimes, as children do, and then you're trying to deal with that, and he's like, oh, well, can my friend John come over? John never gets in trouble. We should bring more Joes in the house to deal with your son. What? What is the argument here? Hey, shout out to CT223. Welcome to the party.
Prosperity. My recommendation is that we bring in more immigrants because they commit crimes at lower rates. Again, this is just like, it feels a lot like brown people bad. There's no data to support.
Yeah, because that's how you view the entire world. That's how you view everything. I don't know anybody watching, or maybe you're just listening. I'm a brown man, and I agree with everything that one of the white men said. And some of it may be misconstrued as I don't like brown people. But that would be pretty silly. That would be pretty silly, wouldn't it? For me, at least. So there's at least one of us, right? Unless, again, anybody out there wants to say that I'm lying and I'm a self-hating brown.
Again, this is just like, it feels a lot like brown people bad. There's no data to support this.
Yeah, because you're too stupid to understand.
And again, I don't dispute that data point at all. It's factual. And I think when you can just go through the illegal versus legal immigration process in this country and rebuild trust.
What are y'all doing up there? I just called you an American. What are y'all doing up there?
The legal process is credible and that the people who are going through the process have been vetted, that they belong here. I think you'll get to a point where people do understand this. I believe that in my own personal experience. People who come to this country, again, risking life and limb to be here, going through the process, they're hardworking, entrepreneurial. They try to stay as clean as possible. They don't have that American privilege that, just taints so many people who have been here for the longest time. I think they can just do whatever they want and never put anything back into the system.
Speaking facts, but do it the right way. So teaching our kids we are a democracy is like telling them Santa's real. At some point, you gotta grow up. I'm going to choose for you guys specifically not to bring up Christianity here. Okay, we're gonna leave it as it is. I'm doing that for you. Gerdad said, social trust be damned, import the third world. That's pretty much the argument. CT said the black population commit around 50% of violent crimes, and that doesn't mean black person bad. It's just the numbers. Yeah, so like if immigrants commit less crime, then so we should bring more of them in. By your logic, we should be deporting black people. I don't think that's what you think. I don't think that's what you think. I think you're just trying to win an argument instead of having a conversation.
I think those people do contribute a lot. But the problem is that we don't have any sense of trust across our society that the person next door is actually.
Now you're fucking with me. Now you're fucking with me.
One of those vetted individuals. We need to restore that somehow.
I know.
All right.
You didn't say it. I said that.
Tard Wrangler, again with a big 20, says illegals are a net drain. They receive many, many benefits and they don't pay into the system because they are on government work programs. And they send a lot of this money back to their homes to pay off cartels' debts.
Yep.
I mean, I think they send a lot of money back home. I don't know about cartel debts, but
I think this is a good.
Would that? Does it change anything if they're sending it to a hospital? Or if they're sending it to a cartel? They're not spending it here. That's the issue. I don't fucking care if it's the cartel. Because guess what? That's not my country.
Example of people just following their feelings and repeating dumb shit that dumb shit Republicans say all the time.
Aside from the Republican part, projection. I will never be able to do that again. That was completely inadvertent, and if I tried, I would fail.
Of people just following their feelings and repeating dumb shit that dumb shit Republicans say all the time. I've given these numbers like 15 times on this. So rank.
Yeah, I gave you the numbers, bro. So like the numbers are the numbers. Like numbers are numbers, dude. Like fucking dude. Like numbers, bro.
One more time, they are a net positive, $50 billion net positive. When you take the expenses that we spend on illegal immigrants and we take the money that they put into our economy, it is a net benefit. This is just what people say to dumb people to get them to vote for Republicans. Be scared of immigrants, please. And then they just lie to you about this shit and you show up and you say this shit.
So I'm going to count that as projection because, of course, there's dumb people on both sides of the aisle. But the motherfucker won the popular vote. Who the fuck do you think you are? Who the fuck do you think you are?
I appreciate you being here.
Fair enough.
Yeah, appreciate it too.
Jester all with a big 10 says, when I was working in Germany illegally after 2 years, they caught me and deported me back to the U.S. Were they wrong to do that?
How dare they?
How dare you? I think it's a hypothetical, but
I don't care, but you got to shut the fuck up forever about illegal immigration because that was you. You're out there. You don't get an opinion on this. You're a lawbreaker. You shut the fuck up. I don't know what Germany's laws are.
Oh, so illegal immigrants don't get to say anything about illegal immigration because they're lawbreakers, right? That's the standard that you just set. Whoopsies.
Because that was you. You're out there. You don't get an opinion on this. You're a lawbreaker. You shut the fuck up. I don't know what Germany's laws are. I don't have a problem with deporting people here. I just want to do the thing that seems the smartest. Maybe they didn't feel like you were a net benefit to their society, and they sent you back here.
The amount of like lack of self-awareness paired with arrogance to say that out loud live on a like, okay, if you think that, then like, whatever. We all, group people in and assume that, like, but you said that out loud, bro, online.
No, yeah, obviously. Check them out.
Gavin Freenon with a big 10, granting his argument about illegals bringing in money, companies actively pay them lower wages while legal Americans are suffering unemployment. This is actively an issue in Chicago where I work.
And guys, we are coming up on the 3.5 hour mark. So if you would like to keep the party raging, the panel is coming up soon. It is up to you guys. Where is it? Oh, fuck. I moved my shit around. You guys know how to do it.
Americans are suffering unemployment. This is actively an issue in Chicago where I work.
I think Americans are both suffering unemployment, but they are also.
Yeah, we were talking before about how this is literally the slavery argument. that Democrats were making to keep slavery. And then he literally, did I just say literally like 4 times? I don't care. He then made the argument relative to civil rights. Like, hey, bro, you're making this. You're doing worse. You're doing worse.
So rolling through unemployment voluntarily and living off the entitlement system just as much as some of the people that folks in this chat.
What the fuck is that? Oh. Bong State Recreation Area. Oh, wait. Oh, fuck. Where's my thing? Shout out to, is that Wisconsin? Is that what this says? I can't, it's too grainy, but nice.
That would accuse of using it as well. Folks in this country are dealing with a whole wealth of issues, including drug addiction and just over dependence on things like different parts of welfare. So yes, there is an unemployment issue. There are some jobs.
So guys, if you hit that link at the top of the chat, then you can feed me links and pictures and videos and all that kind of stuff live. That was 11:28 and it is now 11:29 and we've already covered it. Join. It is free and you get a free day pass for the entire server, not just the free stuff. Come on through.
In which people get priced out of the market by imported labor working for pennies on the dollar. But, you know, I just kind of believe that if you're missing a job, you haven't looked hard enough and you need to get out there and make yourself useful.
I'd give you a hug for that one, Stephen. This would be a hug moment. He doesn't even want. Look at him. He doesn't even want it. Look, I covered this before, but you can go look at the Brookings Institute. You can look at 11/6/727 House document PPIC.org.
I memorized the whole number, so technically I'm right. Okay.
The research shows that
I'm gonna bring up these things that I'm sure you've never thought about or looked at, so that I can misrepresent them, and you can't tell.
Generally speaking, when it comes to wages, illegal immigration has positive wealth gains for American citizens, anywhere from 0.1 to 0.6%. It mostly has no.
I'm a little bit frustrated with Stephen's name, the Ryan Reynolds. I'm a little disappointed that he hasn't just, gone straight for, so it's all about money. It's all about money to you. You have no values here except what is cheaper.
Effect. I mean, it's very, very marginal. But again, this is a thing that Republicans lie to you about to get you to be afraid of immigrants so they can deport immigrants because, and it's crazy that this will get a bad response, but like all of you guys, a lot of people in this chat are listening to open white nationalists who have been warning us repeatedly about a replacement and that people were coming to replace you. People like Charlie Kirk.
You're literally saying that they are the ones doing the work. You're literally saying we need these people to do our jobs. And then it's white nationalist. I don't have the words. I don't have the words. Positive wealth gains, bro. Like, bro, I got mad gains in my wealth.
People like Nick Fuentes, people like Tim Pool, who repeat this day in.
If you put Charlie Kirk, Nick Fuentes, and Tim Pool all in the same bucket, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
And day out, they are trying to scare you. They want just white people here. They want Christian white.
Tim's not even white, bro.
White people here in this country, so they lie to you over and over again. And all it really takes, like everybody that's here, you can all do this. If you're watching this, I know that you have the internet. Google it.
Google what?
Use ChatGPT. Use
for what? I will do it right now. I've got both tabs open. What would you like me to search?
Grok. Use Perplexity. I don't care what it is. Just ask. Do illegal immigrants are they a net positive or a net negative economically? And you'll all get the same.
Economically. You've already made that point, and we've already established that that does not supersede the cultural aspect. Yeah, right. You just said bring in more people. Do the math. It's not white or exactly. I mean, come on. This late in the debate, you're gonna be throwing out fucking. Hopefully,
are they a net positive or a net negative economically? And you'll all get the same answer. And unfortunately,
I'm counting that as semantic obfuscation, because even though, no, it's not. It's just a semantic bullshit trick, because you're using it economically as if the economy is the only thing that we're measuring or looking at, and that's not the case.
That leaves a lot of you is you'll say, nah, I don't trust the internet. I trust my feelings instead.
Projection. I mean, it's not even fun anymore.
Fair enough. I've got 4 more, and then we'll bring on the panel and have some more fun. Tard Wrangler.
All right, so then for us, we're going to go through the rest of these 4 and then head over to the after party. And
again with the Big Ten, where was the due process when they came into my country and overstayed their visa? Fuck these people. Get them out of my country. A family deported together stays together.
I agree. No family, no family separation. Keep them together. Goodbye.
Yeah, due process happens once you're accused of a crime, not before you're accused of a crime, which is why Wrangler, when you ran into a stop sign with your car because you couldn't figure out the brakes and the gas, you weren't.
Oh, good dog, you got him! How long were you holding on that one?
Charged with that before you did it. So it's a remarkably dumb question to say. Like, why did they do due process before we charged them? The due process comes when you're charged with the crime. That's where the due process was.
I think if we want to be good faith, then the spirit of the question is, where was the process to make sure the people that don't belong here aren't here? That's the question. But I mean, fair enough. At this point in the game, you gotta play the game.
Okay. Gavin with the Big Ten says, do people really think only white people are concerned or experiencing this in their neighborhoods? Your party thinks dudes can give birth, but the right lies all the time.
That's all you can say. Like, okay, dude. Okay, all right. If that's what you think.
Yeah, one of the biggest developments in the polling on support for immigration and deportations, of course, comes from shifts in the Black community over the past 15 to 20 years. This is something that Democrats really struggle to talk about. Is how the people in their coalition of the ascendant and different minority groups, they don't all have a common cause like they thought they were. And there is actually a lot of infighting. There's a lot of resentment, particularly in big cities and blue states, about who is living on the system and who's getting the most attention from Democratic politicians. If you're a Black voter in Chicago, you're probably more accustomed to the city catering to some of your interests than you are to them catering to illegals who were just shipped in over the past 4 years.
Yep. And Grenard brings up a great point that expedite millions of people into the country, but each person requires a jury trial to leave. What? That is the same as saying they should never leave. Well said, sir. Well said. CT said, is it better for business to be able to pay employees less? This is what I'm supposed to chat GPT? I guess. That's the crux of his argument. The money, though, the money.
And this is actually like a real issue. This also breaks down into not being able to understand little things like that Guatemalans might hate Mexicans or El Salvadorians don't like the Venezuelans. There's just a lot of infighting between these groups, and there are major concerns between all of them about illegals packing into their neighborhood when they're from countries that they don't like. And again, this never gets talked about in the mainstream media at all when it regards immigration, but it's very real.
Yeah, Stephen just during that answer, Stephen did the same thing he did from the beginning. I don't know how many more times we have to correct this, and this is the problem with the right, is you guys just always fucking lie. There were not a bunch of illegals shipped in over the last 4 years. Stephen, once again, look in the camera. Asylum is a legal process, Stephen. Those are legal immigrants, Stephen.
Nobody believes what you're...
Oh, okay. You've changed my mind. Because before, I thought that asylum was illegal and bad, but now you've shown me the light, and asylum is legal and good. Okay,
you're saying you can just keep saying it over and over again. They were asylum seekers.
Steven, it was my turn. I didn't interrupt you. I didn't interrupt you.
It is.
Didn't you though?
It is RTP's turn.
You have to use these lines, inflammatory language, and to answer your question.
The projection never fucking ends with these people. You're the one who, you're gonna fuck, when you know what else to say. Projection.
It's almost like they're the same party.
It
You
is
have to use-
RTP's turn.
You have to use
Talk
these
away.
lines, inflammatory language, and to answer your question, do I really think only white people are concerned or experiencing this in their neighborhoods? No. I'm wondering what the fuck you're experiencing, though. Because what Steven told me is somebody littered and they had too many cars. And what they told me in Springfield is they were eating the pets. And every time I ask you, what are you experiencing? It seems to be that there's more brown people. And secondly, about dudes giving...
Because that's the only way that you can understand anything. Is that, oh, it's the brown people? That's the only thing that matters to anybody. No, that's the only thing that matters to you. You are the racist.
Birth. I don't know why you guys are obsessed with trans people. It's sick. It's
because we care about our children and we don't want people like you mutilating them and giving them lifelong issues. Crazy, right?
And secondly, about dudes giving birth, I don't know why you guys are obsessed with trans people. It's sick. It's weird. Like
Weird.
Nobody in my party ever gets together and talks about trans people. But you guys we're having an
Yeah, but you'll all fucking support it, won't you? You'll all fucking support it, won't you?
debate, and you're like, oh, trans people, just come already. It's fine. Let it out.
What? Just come already? What does that even mean?
Debate, and you're like, oh, trans people, just come already. It's fine. Let it out. Look at your search history. Just come already. But let us get back to immigration, please, where we can lie about.
Oh, that was an attempt at a joke saying that he likes to watch transes. Good one.
You guys are afraid of brown people.
Oh my!
I don't know about any of you, but I'm terrified of brown people.
Dear Lord, Thunderstorm with Big Ten just to ask the question: Why don't you have a?
I also have a feeling, just a feeling, that brown people might maybe don't like this
doorknob RTP.
This is actually these are sliding doors, so they just have like the hole. They're sliding doors.
Couldn't afford a doorknob.
And a last one, and
all right, guys, it's the last one before the swole goal.
Yo, just laugh. God damn it.
It's all right.
he spent more money on the mustache.
That's right.
One more, and then we'll open up the panel and hopefully have some fun. Thunderstorm with the Big Ten. I'm sorry. Worst Viking ever says, RTP, where was this passion and outrage when 300,000 brown children went missing under Biden-Harris? Hope your pup gets well soon. Thank you.
The outrage when 300,000 brown people went missing under Biden and Harris, who also were missing under Trump, who also were missing under Obama.
Yeah, we're the ones who are like, hey, they're doing trafficking at the border. So yeah, that's happening because you didn't fucking stop it.
This is, again, a fundamental misunderstanding. Now, you don't...
Hey, shout out to the true disciple, Avery. Welcome to the party. You missed the entire show, but that is okay. It is always a pleasure to see you. And of course, we've got that after party. Welcome. Always a pleasure to see the true disciple. 8 p.m. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, guys. Never changes. Never, ever, ever.
Missing under Trump, who also were missing under Obama. This is, again, a fundamental misunderstanding. Now, you don't give a fuck about these children at all because you want to deport them anyways. But if we want to clear this up, the 3,000 missing people, they were handed off, right? They were handed off to a caretaker. And what this 300,000 number is just people not checking in. They're just supposed to check in. And when they don't check in...
Oh, so you don't need to worry about that.
And they say that they're lost. There's no evidence that these people are missing. There's no evidence that these people are being harmed. It's really hard.
That's evidence that they're not following the check-in that whatever the fuck you're talking about. Either way, it's an issue. I agree. That is much less of an issue if it's people not checking in with their probation, whatever the fuck it is, than if they go missing. Okay, yeah, I can agree to that. Doesn't make it good. Doesn't make it good.
Hard to keep track of people. And that's what that number was. So the outrage was we should fix our system. But where was your outrage during the Trump administration when almost that exact number occurred? Oh, you didn't know about it because they don't ever tell you the truth. They lie to you so that you can justify.
Okay, so then whose fault is that? If someone was lied to and gets wrong information, yet again, he is fighting ghosts.
why you want to deport brown people. I said at the beginning, I'll say it again. Everything you guys believe about immigration is a fucking lie.
Pretty much. Yeah, and RTD, I think it's RTP, whatever. Doesn't care about the kids either, unless they chant, fuck white people, or become trans or non-binary. Like, what the actual hell is that argument?
Stupid.
It is stupid. And the thing here is that I knew that this was not going to be a fruitful debate, but I really need to, I guess, reiterate that is where we live. If we're just watching a super entertaining debate that's very high level, then like you can just watch that. But being able to see not just, oh, this is bad, but why it's bad and how to point out, oh, when people do this bad thing, I don't need to listen to them. Or, hey, this person is in bad faith and the other person was able to really reach the audience. Those are the things that we are looking at.
Everything. I can't even get Steven to figure out the difference between legal and illegal immigration. After 2 hours, we're still calling legal immigrants illegal immigrants. Why?
They're all asylum seekers, everybody. Remember.
They are seeking asylum when they do not need asylum. That is illegal. Technically, I mean, no, yep, we got to go back. It's not illegal, but it should be.
They are asylum seekers. That doesn't
They shouted
mean we're granted
asylum.
Okay. Yeah, that's what they
Moving
did,
on.
Steven. It's a legal process.
Okay. All right. Well, let's go ahead. I've got a full panel sitting backstage, and I.
All right, guys. You know what time it is. 38. So I am doing 28 push-ups. 24 push-ups. Wait, what? I told you I'm bad at math. Jesus Christ. 38 divided by 2. 19! 19! There we go. Remember to join the after party. It is time for push-ups. Everybody pay your fucking self. You paid me. Now it is time to pay yourself. Do 19 push-ups. If you can't do 19, do 10. If you can't do 10, do 5. If you can't do 5, do 3. Do something. It's time to pay ourselves. Let's go. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 1 for good luck. Hoo-ah! Let's fucking go. Let's fucking go. Who paid themselves? Let me know who paid themselves. While we're doing that, give a big shout out. 18 super chats and a rumble rant, guys. I'm pretty sure that's a record. I'm pretty sure that is a record. I've been telling y'all, we don't need some big pocket dropping a $50. You guys work together and we can do this. This is how this community grows. This is how this community actually starts to matter. I'm sorry. Unfortunately, money is the way the world works. I wish it wasn't, but it is. It is. A big shout out to everybody here. Thank you guys so very, very much. Oh shit. Look at it. I can't even keep up. Look at it. Look at it. And again, Guamsec with the 5. Josie getting that sponsorship spot. Guamsec throwing a little bit. And he fell with another 5. AOC is definitely a scam. That's for sure. Shout out to Gridiron Masters. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Big shout out to Bubbles. Hope you are doing well, Bubbles. And of course, our other co-sponsor of the stream, America again. again, big shout out to you and to Josie. You guys have sponsored the stream. Guys, I appreciate it to no end. I know that not only could you be doing anything else in the world, but this is a free show. You could just come and hang out, and that's totally fine. And yet, you guys decide to do more than that, and it means the fucking world. And I promise you, it is going to come to fruition. It's going to take time. But everything in life that's worth it takes time. We are way closer to the beginning than we are to the end. And it's shows like this that really give me faith that we got something here, guys. So let's keep it riding. Let's keep it riding. I will see you guys in the after party. Thank you so very, very much for hanging out once again, guys. Let's give her an extra. Let's give her an extra. Why not? Once again, lazy boy over here. That is Morty, and I have been your host, Lech, aka TheIndianJesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. Until next time, guys, we are out of here. Peace.